in the agenda. And will be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours of meeting. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. So the first thing is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we are going to move through the agenda pretty quickly because we have a long budget discussion. The first thing on the agenda is public comment for issues from previous meetings. Anybody in person? Anybody on Zoom? All right, moving on.
Oh, I got one.
Okay, got it.
Okay, that's not working. Let me get it up. Give me a second. All right, the first thing is, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I've been harping on this. We need people to run for office. And I'm not just talking about school committee, I'm talking about townwide. There are, up for election this year is Select Board, Sewer Commission, Board of Health, Assessors, School Committee, Park Commission, Commissioner of Trust Funds, Cemetery Commission, Library Trustee, Planning Board and Housing Authority. Some of those positions have nobody running for them. I know for us right now, I don't believe, there are 3 seats up for election for School Committee, and there are only 2 people running for 3 seats, so.
There's 2 seats.
Nope, it's
3.
me,
Oh, you.
Emily,
And the open seat.
and the open seat.
Sorry, never mind.
So that, yeah, there are
Wait a
3
minute, it's not
positions. So there are 3 positions, for school committee, and only 2 people running, so we need people to run. You have until March 26th, which is next week, to pull the papers. You go to the town clerk's office, get a form, you collect 50 signatures, you return it by Saturday, May 28th at 5 p.m., and then your name will be on the ballot. That's the easiest way to do it outside of caucus, which has already happened. If you need help getting signatures, you can email me, and I will help you, and there are other people in town who will help you get 50 signatures if that sounds like a large task. This town is run by volunteers. If you're unhappy about how things work, you can make changes. This is a concrete action that you can take in your local community. So I highly recommend that if you're watching tonight and you're upset by things, consider running for office. Number 2, tonight is going to stink. No one will be happy. We will all be upset. But we sustained massive cuts last year, cuts that affected our students in concrete, demonstrable ways, cuts that put immense strain on the reduced staff. I cannot understand how we're going to possibly cut more, but we have to look at a balanced budget. That is our responsibility. We have to do it. But the important thing I wanted to say was, I am so grateful for our Lunenburg teachers and staff. This is what makes Lunenburg schools great. You guys are the reason we have managed this long with so little. Your creativity, your dedication, and your caring for our students and for each other, it is very appreciated. And I'm saying that as me, a school committee member who is constantly impressed with what I see, and as a parent who has seen firsthand how talented and dedicated you all are. Third thing and last thing is that May 2nd is town meeting. Don't get that wrong, it's May 2nd. You must go. Do not depend on other people showing up for you. This is not going to be an easy thing to get past. No, it's not fun. It is always, for some reason, beautiful weather and the nice first Saturday in May. As parents, for some reason, it is a day that is constantly filled with every child having activities. It is a hard thing to attend. That is why historically parents don't go. But it is important you go. It is too important for you to sit out and hope for the best. You are the best hope. This is directly a way that you can make the town better. You can make our kids' lives better. This is one of the few times that we as citizens have a vote that very much counts. Saturday, May 16th is the town election. You must show up and vote in that election, you have to. An override needs to pass at town meeting, and then it needs to pass at the polls. It needs to meet both of those obstacles in order to pass. It barely passed last time. Your individual vote will matter. Those individual votes absolutely matter. So I want everyone to put the dates in your calendar now. Saturday, March 2nd. Oh my God. It has been a really long week. I was up a little late last night. Saturday, May 2nd, and Saturday, May 16th. Put them in your calendar, May 2nd and May 16th. May 2nd is the not fun day that's gonna take a lot of hours. May 16th, you just need to be in town and spend a few minutes voting. But both of those things are really important. And you need to spread the word too, because not a lot of people watch this as compared to who we need to show up. So that's my 3 cents.
That was perfect. Thank you so much, Laura.
Excellent.
I agree on all fronts, basically.
Anybody else? All right, okay, quick chairs report. I just wanna make sure that everybody is aware that we are all of the committees are working together behind the scenes to try to get things ready. We are working really hard to get everything ready for our side, so that when we have the next, tri-board meeting, we will be ready to go. I know that select board is working very hard. One of the things that I wanna highlight is that, according to the budget presented last Monday, is that right? That the fourth shift fire department,
2 days ago.
2 days ago, has moved from an override item to a regular budget item. And while I understand the necessity of that, from my perspective as chair, it greatly weakens the ability for the override to pass. I wish that wouldn't have happened. I understand why it happened. I understand that the fire department still has needs, but it is hard to be this late in the process and have that big of a change. I'm concerned that it will impact turnout and that it will impact the vote count in a way that is bad. I am also a little concerned that the structure of the override has not been set, and that the amounts have not been set. I think hopefully when we finish tonight, everything will be in. We will have turned in all of our homework and just await. But we're coming down to the last few days, and it's been a very, very difficult process. And I'm more concerned now than I was before. I think it's fair to say that before we had like a coin toss chance maybe in the best case scenario, and without fourth shift fire on the override, I think that we have virtually no chance of winning. And I'm sorry to say that, but I think that's probably true. So,
It was also done the day after, or the day that, a few hours after the expiration to hand in a citizen's petition.
I don't know anything about that. I'm just saying, I wish it would not have happened. It happened, I understand why it happened, but it is essentially taking the wind out of the sails in terms of making this a joint town and school committee effort. Without a big ticket item for the town, I feel like we're sort of out in the field alone. All right. Sure,
Can I,
sure, come on.
I was gonna wait till the end, but since you brought it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it heavily affects what we're doing here, and the fact that these cuts are more likely because of the actions of the select board.
Renee Emke, 6 Iris Court, speaking as myself. I just want to clarify one thing about the fourth shift fire.
Sure.
That's in the no override budget. The fourth shift is included in the override budget. The full ask of the fire department is not. The per diems were cut in half. What that impact, the impact of that is we can't man 2 ambulances in the no override budget. So that's the missing piece. So yes, there is a fourth shift of the career fire workers. The per diem line was cut basically in half, so we can't man the 2 ambulances. So there is an impact to the safety and services of the town.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is the student representative report.
Tomorrow, for the primary school and Turkey Hill, it's hosted at Turkey Hill, but it's STEM nights. There is also MCAS coming up in both Turkey Hill and the middle school. At the high school, prom tickets just went for sale Monday and will be for sale for, I believe, the next 2 weeks. As well as course registration just opened, so yay, kids are scared again about the budget. And district-wide, we are currently hosting a food drive.
Kara, what's the date for the prom?
May 16th, I believe.
What else is happening on May 16th?
Election day.
Election day.
So those 18-year-old seniors might not be voting.
Oh, we need that.
That
though.
would
In
be
between
fun.
there and now, so please find time to go to the polls.
These are my favorite signs of spring, when suddenly the first MCAS date hits and it's just, it goes faster and faster in the spring. So that's exciting.
Those of us who are juniors and seniors are very lucky. We don't have MCAS anymore.
All right. Do you have that? Superintendent, is that on here?
Yeah, it's number 8.
Oh. All right, let's do, okay. We have minutes in the folder. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
I didn't, but I can abstain.
Yep, I make a motion to accept the minutes of 1/21/26.
The second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All that abstain?
Me.
Okay. That passes. Review and approve line item transfers, warrants, and donations. So there was the warrant total for the period of February 25th, 2026 to March 11th, 2026 is $298,408.51. And do we have any line item transfers?
No.
Okay, and we have a scholarship. It is here. I was told it was complicated.
Yes, I would like to ask Liz to come up and explain the ins and outs of this particular scholarship. It's a little less straightforward than our others.
Right. So this scholarship, can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This scholarship was actually awarded already to 2025 graduates. It was $500 each, and what this is going to do is basically pay them the $500. I tried to talk to Mylene at Town Hall about it. We were playing phone tag about it, because the actual scholarship donation form really doesn't apply here, because this is just a payment voucher. So basically what we've done in the past, we've put in a PR for this, which we do have a PR in the system, and then it's paid out through the warrant system is what happens. Town Hall wants some type of approval for this, so we included the scholarship donation form for that, but it doesn't actually apply in this case really. So we just needed your signatures and approval tonight. Afterwards, I'm going to give Mylene a copy of the minutes of this meeting once they're approved. So she'll have that, she'll have all of the information from the scholarship, and then once we get a PO back, we can put the payment voucher through the warrant system. You will sign that, and then they will get paid the $500 each for the scholarship recipients.
Is it something specific about this scholarship that's led to this confusion, or are we gonna have to do this for every scholarship that we pay out?
So
Is this new?
basically, every scholarship moving forward should just really be the warrants
Yeah.
and then minutes of approval. But I need to talk to Mylene about that, and we've been playing phone tag, so that's why I included that tonight. So at least she would have initial approval on something, so that she could,
These kids are in their second semester of college.
right, they're going into their
It
second
just-
semester,
This is
yeah.
not fair
Right.
of us to not give them their money.
Exactly, and that's why we already put the PR into the system. So as soon as we get the PO, we'll put it through the warrant system.
Is this a policy change at town hall?
It wasn't a policy change per se. This has to do with an MGL, and donations in general, scholarship donations and donations in general. So that's why we created, Town Hall actually created that form because of it, and then they handed it down to us. So in general, the whole thing has changed since previous years. That's why.
Okay, it's our funds, or are the funds being dispersed through us? Or-
No, it's dispersed through the student activity account is where it's normally dispersed through. So,
All right, I think the form was just throwing me,
yeah, exactly.
but that is, okay. Thank you for
Sure.
untangling this mess and getting our kids what they need.
Absolutely.
Congrats to the two kids, and I hope they're doing
Yes.
good in school.
Thank
They are
you.
doing great.
They are.
I'm not gonna
You
say
can see
that.
their transcripts there. They're doing
I'm not
great.
gonna mention that, but I think it looks like they're doing good, so proud
They
of
are.
them.
Thank you.
Do we need to vote on this?
Oh, do we need to vote?
You know what?
Yeah, okay.
We'll make
Yes.
I would make a motion,
to
yeah.
accept the scholarship
Donation,
donation slash,
award,
yes.
second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Liz.
Okay, so it's my report, and I have two brief things for you. The high school very nicely created a schedule that would not require the movement of graduation due to the terrifically wonderful winter wonderland we had this winter. So this will keep our graduation on the 6th and keeps us within guidelines for the 12 school days between senior dismissal and district dismissal. So the schedule would be seniors' last day will be Tuesday, June 2nd. Wednesday, June 3rd would be the motorcade. Thursday, June 4th would be rehearsal and senior awards and dinner. Friday, June 5th is senior sunset. And Saturday, June 6th is graduation. Obviously, we didn't want to move graduation because of the number of snow days, even though we had that option. So I really want to thank Mr. Santry and Karma for Ms. Toussaint for doing this for us, working out a flexible schedule so that we could keep graduation on the 6th.
Have we let senior parents know in case that affects things like baccalaureate or?
We have.
Okay, and this encompasses all those fun graduation traditions that it's like an entire agenda. I really like it. I love our graduation week traditions. It's really fun.
Wouldn't say they're corny.
They're a little corny, but that's.
But that's kind of that's why I love the motorcade.
That's kinda nice.
I think the motorcade is absolutely beautiful.
That's why I love Lunenburg.
Corny.
There's one more thing that I wanted to make sure that you are aware of for our handbooks and registrations for our summer programs and our early learning center next year, as well as extended day. For summer camp, the application is going to be put up around 5 p.m. on April 27th. For extended day, 5 p.m. on May 11th, and for early learning center, 5 p.m. on May 18th. These are all Mondays.
What are the locations for those programs?
That is an excellent question. Extended day will run as it ran
Yep.
this year, obviously. The early learning center is located at primary school. And summer camp, Liz, is
I would assume at the primary school, but Patty's on the meeting tonight, so she can clarify when she's on Zoom tonight, so she can clarify.
excellent. She's going to be presenting the handbooks
Oh,
for all those
okay.
programs
All
tonight.
right.
So, for your approval, they're in your folder, and all the changes are very nicely highlighted in yellow, so thank you, Patty. And then you have some images that were just in our folder of students enjoying decodable readers, which you approved the grant funding for. So we wanted to show you that they are being used and how much our students are enjoying them.
They really are.
Yeah.
That was a fast turnaround. So
Dr. Safdie is very quick.
There is one picture in particular that warrants comment. It is adorable. Holy moly.
I know,
I'm not gonna say anything,
I
but
know,
oh
it's-
my lord.
they're very happy.
That concludes my report for tonight.
Excellent.
I thought I'd keep it brief since we have a lot to do.
All right,
Getting good news, it's not gonna be fun.
Okay, let's keep it.
all right. So before we get to new business, I just wanna make sure we're all on the same page. This trip has already been approved. This is like happening in like a month. So hopefully we do not need to give anybody the third degree again. We all know it's an equity issue. I'm fully aware of that, and we can have that fight.
It's a little
when we're
late to change the price, yeah.
Not at the final approval stage. So with that being said,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
This is a big trip.
Yes, it is.
This is a lot more than normal.
So it ebbs and flows, and pre-2020, we didn't have a lot of travelers and struggled to get trips even to go. And then with all the stop and travel for that extended time period, we're seeing much higher numbers in our international trips right now. So yes, it's wonderful.
Good job.
Wonderful to see. So I'm Jessica Eyre, the World Language Department Head. I'm here in place of Mrs. York, who is still very much running the trip, but had a family emergency. She forwarded me what she forwarded you, and we discussed some things. So hopefully, if I am unable to answer questions that you might have, I can certainly get the answers to you soon. We're departing, I'm just gonna speak it like I'm going on the trip, which I'm not. We're departing on this Friday the 17th in the evening, and coming back on the Saturday of vacation. There are 7 adults on the trip with 30 students, which is an excellent ratio. Their students are leaving in a coach bus from the high school, which allows everybody to get to the airport together and on time. And to make sure before they leave here, they have their passports already. Let's see. So there was a question about the cruise, and so I just want to be clear that there's no passing of students through the Strait of Hormuz. Basically,
good to
this cruise
People
ship,
don't know geography?
the ship is stuck there.
That's fine, but like, we're.
But so the idea is the ship has 2 specific geographic places it services during 2 different times of the year. And so in March, they shift to Greece and the Mediterranean, and so they've gotten stuck. So that's why the cruise portion of the trip is right now on hold. We have one additional update that's occurred since you received this packet, which is that the company ACIS has contacted a different cruise company that could possibly replace the one that is currently booked, so that they could still complete the trip as planned. But nothing is definite, because they obviously want to see if that ship can come through for them. The third option, which is already being planned for because they want to be ready if it happens, is there will be a land portion in lieu of the cruise portion. And this company is excellent, ACIS. I have 100% confidence that this will be dealt with professionally, and the students, no matter what experience they're provided, it will be an incredible experience. So let's see if there's anything else. I know there's been some talk not in Lunenburg, just in my professional learning groups about safety with travel right now. There are no travel warnings for Americans if you go to the official U.S. Department website, and ACIS monitors that very, very closely. I don't think the school committee is aware of this, but back in 2020, we had a trip going to Galapagos, and that trip was postponed 2 years in a row due to COVID. And then on the 3rd year, 25 hours prior to departure, the company canceled the trip because of political unrest in the region that they were flying into. I don't know exactly what region, but my point in saying that is if ACIS deems that it's not safe to travel, they will make that call, and students will get their money back. And
They didn't go on the Galapagos trip?
not for 4 years.
Oh, that was the, okay, that's.
So that's why, it was delayed 2 years due to
Yep.
COVID, 1 year because of political unrest, and then they finally traveled in the 4th year. So I just wanted to let you know that so that you can feel reassured that, the company themselves, they don't want to be responsible for sending a group of students to an unsafe region, of course. And so they will certainly, make accommodations if something comes up. So I just wanted to reassure everybody of that.
Yeah,
I
that's helpful, thank you.
appreciate Mrs. York's adaptability, because this is a potentially big change. I appreciate the adaptability, the ability to adapt. What that teaches the kids about resiliency and adaptability, because they're never gonna forget the trip that they had to reschedule parts of it because a war broke out. And the commitment to safety. I like that as soon as I saw this on the itinerary, I was a little bit panicked. I don't know why I thought their layover was in Turkey. So I appreciate, it's not.
That what?
The layover is in Germany. So I appreciate the commitment to the student safety and the immense effort, the adapting the plan is probably taking on Mrs. York as well. So thank you. Do we need to approve this so that you guys can go?
Look for a motion to approve to render final approval for the Greek trip.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, and I hope everybody has fun on this.
I'm sure they will.
I hope the war ends too. An unnecessary war seems like a bad thing to do. Just saying.
I mean, I agree.
Taking a real hard stance.
I went out on a limb on that one.
Whoa.
An unnecessary war that has nothing to do with us seems like a bad idea. All right. The next item on the agenda is the handbooks for the.
ELC, an extended
Yeah.
day. It's in its own folder.
And I believe Ms. McCarthy Gillette is online for us.
She is.
Hi, everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we have made, obviously, you'll see from the handbooks, there's no policy changes, no procedure changes, time changes, anything. Basically, it's just obviously changes of dates, of times that we would be closed, due to the Lunenburg calendar. Your earlier question where summer camp is, that moved to the primary school last year. So it was our first summer last year, we will continue this year there.
Okay, and there's no substantive changes.
No changes, times the same for early learning center, extended day, the same thing, extended days at Turkey Hill in the morning, it's at the primary in the afternoon, that remains the same. So, basically, everything is just about the same except for when we're starting school, et cetera, following the calendar.
I must say, the extended day at Turkey Hill in the morning, my kids are so happy.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Being in the gym in the morning, running around in a controlled chaos, it's very controlled, but they, they get to run around, it really has been wonderful.
I think it's good for them.
We have an amazing staff,
Yeah.
so it's, and we have, we have this gym in the afternoon as well at the primary school, believe me. Those kids need it when they get off that bus, it really is helpful.
Yeah, it's been good. If everyone's good, I'll make a motion to accept the changes.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nikki, you can pack up your stuff.
All right. Looks like we are on to PEC health insurance opt-out.
Yes, so the negotiations between the town and the PEC are coming to an end. And one of the areas where the town manager has notified me that they see likely consensus is an enhancement of the opt-out program. So right now, employees must enroll in the town's health insurance for at least 2 years and then are eligible to opt out. When they opt out, they receive a 1-year incentive of $2,000 for an individual plan and $4,000 for a family plan. Under the proposed new program, employees must enroll in the town's health insurance for at least 1 year, then they're eligible to opt out. When they opt out, they will receive a continuous annual incentive of $3,000 for an individual plan and $6,000 for a family plan, payable each year they remain opted out. Because the new program allows annual payments and has a shorter eligibility period, it's reasonable to expect that participation may increase substantially compared to prior years. Historically, participation has been limited. Across the town and school combined, opt-outs have been as follows.
Oh my God.
In FY '25, we had 3 family and 1 individual opt-out. In FY '26, we had 2 families and 3 individuals opt-out. With the low historical participation, the town manager is not sure whether there has been a formalized understanding of the budgeting with the opt-outs between the town and the school. Going forward, she is proposing an understanding between the town and school that each need to absorb the opt-out payments associated with its own employees. In other words, if school employees elect to opt out, the school department will realize the insurance savings, but the school department will also be responsible for funding the corresponding opt-out payments within its budget. The town will follow the same approach for town employees. This doesn't negatively impact our budget planning, as the opt-out is substantially cheaper than the insurance plans. And given the enhanced benefit, we will likely have enhanced participation, which will lower our health insurance line, but we don't know that yet. The town manager and I feel that it's important to formally acknowledge an understanding of this change. So much of what happens, we don't formally write down or acknowledge.
Noticed.
Yes, so we think it's important to formally acknowledge an understanding of this change in advance of FY '27 so that there's a clear understanding. And I said I would bring this forward to the school committee because it's budgeting and under your purview. So you can let me know if you'd like me to proceed with this, formalizing this.
I just want to point out that I think this is a great idea, something that the Budget Task Force recommended. I think it would be even better if it was an immediate opt-out, because quite frankly, just make it as appealing as possible until it is actually used. It is very clear we're not using it. The numbers are worse now than they were, like we did the Budget Task Force in 2024, and I think it was like just a little bit higher. But the one thing that I will point out is that we have this informal understanding with the town that we count our health insurance on our budget. And this is propagating that, and I'm okay with that, but eventually, I think when cooler heads prevail on the accounting side, that line should go back to the town. So, as long as we have that line in our budget, which was based on an informal agreement that has nothing to do with the town charter or state law, it was just a devil's bargain that did not pay dividends to the schools. I think that we should do this, but eventually I would like to see that line returned to the town.
I want to say that I appreciate the town manager's efforts in negotiating with the BEC. It's been hard work. And this represents our interest as well, so I'm very thankful for this, and these changes. At a higher level, I hate that we're incentivizing people not to get health insurance on a human benefits level.
They would have to justify that they have it somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
They would have to say like their
Yeah.
significant other.
No one is foregoing health insurance.
No, it would just be
Yeah.
if the spouse is covered. We do this in my business. A lot of businesses do this.
But I see no
Yeah.
reason not to participate in this, and I am very grateful for the formalizing of things in writing, because it's been, with you coming on and Chris coming on, an interesting transition as far as written records versus that's just always the way it's been done. So I see, do we need to sign
So I'm,
this?
You will need to sign it.
Okay.
so I'm on board. The only thing I'm hoping that we might consider a cadence where we readdress it.
Mhm.
So that this isn't a infinite policy. Or if some reason in 5 years, this is not, I'm not thinking yearly, 3 years would be fine.
What's
I
the
just,
term of the
I just
PhD?
think, that we don't want, the term of the
Yeah,
PEC is 3
I
years, so
think
that would be fine. I just don't wanna accept something that I'm never gonna see again.
Yeah, I think the term of the PEC, and then we have to talk
Then we have to talk.
about it every 3 years, and then Tony can talk about health insurance. It'll be
Because
better.
it could change.
This is ridiculous, we should get rid of this.
So do we need to vote on this now, or wait for signature, for it to be?
I want you to give me approval to proceed to craft this with the town manager, and then it will come back to you for your signature.
Motion to give the superintendent approval to proceed with the opt-out program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
I loved how ambitious you were here, Tony. FY '27 budget, 3 minutes.
I think we can do this in 3 minutes.
I don't think
Everybody,
people are gonna be
talk
happy.
quick and get to the point.
More like 3 hours.
I mean, to be, a lot of this work has been done.
Every slide takes approximately 1.5 seconds.
How many
It
slides?
flashes at you.
We have no slides.
Boom, see, no
Boom.
slides. Let's
No
go.
slides.
Oh, no
Yeah.
slides?
This has been disseminated to the public and posted on our website, so people can follow along with us there.
Because we've done the restoration budget, we've done a lot of this work, we did the, we did the restoration budget, we did the finance committee presentation, a lot of this work has been done already, this is just the super
Yeah, I-
part of this, trimming it more.
Yes,
But I do think that it's gonna be more than 3 minutes.
Yes, they will be.
5 minutes.
So there's a couple of ways that we can approach this. We have the return of the rainbow budget, thanks to Laura, which is at the end. We could go through
Like the color
line by line where you think we could reduce more. Though I do want to comment that our expenses are pretty much level service funded or below now, depending on actual trends that have happened. So that is important. I want to make one note. There's been a lot of talk amongst the town about outsourcing custodial work. I finally heard back from the company. The price tag that they gave us was 1.1 to 1.2 million, and that was not including supplies. So I don't recommend that that's an avenue we continue to pursue, as it's more expensive than our wonderful custodian crew is now.
That's a lose-lose proposition.
Yes.
Done.
Thank you for looking into
We
it.
are done.
Now
I don't
we
wanna
can
talk
say
about that
we looked
anymore.
into it, it's good.
I wanted to say I did my due diligence.
Yeah, we did get some comments more than, about the expenses and why are we cutting personnel instead of expenses? And from what I can see, this being my third really fun year of looking really hard at the budget, the expenses have been cut. Last year especially, to save some positions, the expenses have been cut as, for the most part, as far as they can be cut. There's no more to cut. If there was, we would absolutely cut the expenses before personnel, because a school, for the most part, is its people. Teachers teach, it's what they do. We can't do this without the teachers, without the staff, without the paras, without the admin, without the we can't do this without the people we have. And so expenses have been cut, and I said this 2 years ago, and I said it 1 year ago, and I've been told I say it too much. We're running very lean. Lunenburg schools have been running very lean for a very long time. This is not our first time going through budget shortages. We run very lean. We do a lot with very little. And now we have to try and figure out how to do it with even less.
And we have cut some of our expenses as well that I think are important to note. We have cut $110,195 from the high school principal assistant principal from the original budget that we had posted online. We've cut $72,241 from middle school special educators. We have, hold on, I am scrolling, maybe I should have done slides.
The health insurance,
Yep,
or are you looking between FY '27 and '26?
yes. Here's what I'm looking for. We reduced $10,000 from maintenance, emergency repairs, $10,000 from maintenance of building supplies, $10,000 from maintenance of grounds contracted services, $4,500 from custodial supplies, $1,000 from mileage, we subtracted $50,000 from transportation because we're applying our bus fees, our school choice transportation. We're applying, speaking of school choice transportation, the school committee at its next meeting is going to have to decide about the continuation of the bus fee so we can get the transportation forms out in a timely manner. We have subtracted $17,450 from athletic transportation, $4,140 from trash removal, $12,510 for maintenance of buildings contracted services, $20,000 for maintenance of buildings supplies, and $9,720 from fire safety furniture repair. This isn't a fire safety issue that we're reducing, it's that all of the furniture in our school needs to meet the fire code, and so that's why it's called fire safety furniture. These were all based on looking at actuals, which you now have in your budget, which weren't there prior to this. So we looked at our actual spending patterns over the past few years, and these are the decisions that we made to cut. We added $15,000 into school committee legal expenses because right now we're running a little hot. Chris knows of a couple of bills that are coming in. And so I'm using the firm to help with a couple of contentious cases that we have, not legal cases, but contentious records requests and things that are happening to make sure that they're done properly. So that we thought that increasing that amount would provide some safety. There's some lines, there's two lines in particular that I want to address off the top of my head that I know the community may be seeing as larger. One is our special education testing services. That number has increased significantly. We are currently using a version of the Woodcock-Johnson test that they no longer support. They haven't supported it for a couple of years. We're running out of our answer sheets and our kids really do deserve better. So we are upgrading to the newest version of the Woodcock-Johnson. The other thing that you will see is there's a fairly dramatic increase on the supply side in ELL supplies. That's due to the increase in students and the need to buy some multilingual literacy things for them so that they can have instruction in a way that's appropriate for developing English learners.
And, yeah, that's, again, there were years of budget difficulties, so they were working on very little for a
Yes.
long time. And it caught up to us, and we need to augment that.
Yes.
And I do wanna say, when we cut expenses like this, it's going to catch up later. We can't just not buy art supplies forever. Eventually, we're gonna stop finding crayons in the couch cushions. We're going to need to purchase replacements eventually. This is not sustainable.
And two of those lines that I'm very aware of right now is our equipment for physical education, and we have yet again deferred uniform replacement for next year.
Do we have a schedule now for the uniforms?
Yes.
We have a,
Yes,
Look at that.
but we're gonna be a year off.
already?
Yes.
Okay.
So can we step back, because I think there are two things we need to do tonight, and I think maybe as a committee, we should be focused on two things in particular. but I know, Mr. Chairman, I don't know what you,
Okay.
so the two things I think we need to come to some kind of conclusion on, or at least thorough discussion, is our balanced budget. This is the aforementioned terrible budget that nobody wants to have go through. But I think we need to talk about that and make sure the school committee and the public realizes how bad it is. And then secondly, I personally would like to suggest that we coalesce around a budget number for the override that we, as a school committee, feel comfortable putting in writing to send to the select board for their conversation. And that could include 2 tiers, it could include 1 tier, but I think we need to, I would like to get that personally locked down tonight.
I think we're gonna need 2 numbers.
Well, I mean, I think we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to defer to you, Mr. Chairman, on which one you'd like to do first, but I think those are the 2 things in my wheelhouse I would like to get done tonight. In my wheelhouse, that's not right, in my
Priorities.
priority brain.
I think it makes sense to come up with the goal before working towards it.
Yeah, so I think that we should take a vote now
Yeah.
on whether we want to do a tiered override or a non-tiered override.
Right.
And then use that vote to shape the discussion of what comes next. If we're not going to support a tiered override, then we should not spend time on differentiating between tiers, and we should go straight to, this is our number, and this is what the cuts look like if we don't get an override. If we vote in favor of a tiered override, then I think that the second phase of the discussion would be, what does tier 1 look like, what does tier 2 look like, and what does the cuts budget look like? But if we don't have that as our guiding principle, then we're just gonna be debating, we're gonna be running on 2 tracks at the same time, and it doesn't make any sense. So, I think that the straw poll at the tri-board meeting was clear, it was 7 to 5.
It was 7 to 6, cause 6, 7.
No, it was 7 to 5, because I remember if I changed my vote, it went to 6 to 6.
Okay, cause I think Glenn had
So it was 7 to 5 in favor of a
none.
single number. And so I think we should decide that first. And then if after Monday, the select board comes back to us and says, we want a lower number, then we already have it, we're ready to go. We can talk about, what that looks like if they ask for it. But if we've decided we want 1 number, then we should go with 1 number. If we decide we want 2 numbers, we should go with 2 numbers. But I don't think we should be debating the numbers at the same time as debating the shape of the override.
Mr. Chair?
Sure.
Is that within our purview? I thought that, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that was in the select board's purview to, as far as what the override?
Oh,
is
yeah, that is, they get to decide and put into place what the override looks like. In terms of what we give them as input, we decide.
Okay.
So like, we can say to them, this is how much we need, this is our number. Or we can say to them, this is what it would look like if we had a tiered override. I don't have a preference one way or the other. I think that there's good reason to go with 1 number. I think there's good reasons to go with multiple numbers. I also think you could support 1 number and want to debate 2 numbers so that we can be, further ahead on this project than we would be if we only gave them 1 number.
So that would be my position. So my position is, I would like 1 number. I am willing to come down to the second budget that the superintendent has put together, which is the core budget, she has called it, right? The core, it's scenario, for anyone following along at home, it's scenario C, right? It's on page, oh God, help me with the page number.
Scenario C is on page
4. I am not willing to go below that number to ask the select board. That is my final answer. We can talk about it as a group, but that is my final answer. If we are going to the voters and asking them for more money, I believe we have to go with scenario C. I feel like scenario B is ideal, but the select board has repeatedly asked us to come down on our number. To be good partners, I am willing to go to scenario C. I also believe in a world where the town manager has been focused on percentage, 54 to 57% should be the schools. That would give us about right under 3 million total. I think going over 3 million total is asking for a no vote. So I would recommend that the school committee go with the 1.59.
So I'm gonna get to Emily and Lou
Yeah.
first, but before I do that, I wanna make sure everybody's aware. I spoke to the town manager yesterday and I asked her this question.
Okay.
And she was very clear to me that she was not concerned about a number or a percentage so much as she was concerned about the schools asking for what they need. So like I asked her a bunch of different times in a bunch of different
Yeah.
ways. It wasn't quite a cross-examination, but
You two are fun together.
but she was really clear to me. It's like
Yes, and I,
so like I you know like if she had told me it has to be this, then you know she gives us our marching orders. We do that. But she was very clear. You guys figure out what you need.
Yeah,
So
and so
I don't
I-
want it to make it
okay,
look
I-
like we were confined by that.
yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to suggest that if that's not how it went. I just know there has been some discussion of
Sure,
percentage.
sure, that's fair.
And so if the select board decides that they would like to move forward with a two-tiered override, which was not what we are currently suggesting, I would suggest that the second number needs to be higher than the core services number. The second number needs to be at least the restoration number, even more.
All right.
I have one last thing.
Oh yeah, sure.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
We have taken, I had a recount done today on the cuts that came back last year. The cuts last year included, I think it was 20 positions. 7 were realized through attrition and 13 were active positions that were held by staff members. We reduced our staff by 15.75 FTEs. And so 17 of those 20 positions are unfilled today. The core budget asks to not all 17 of those back. It asks for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It asks for 8 back. So of the 17 cuts the
Less than half.
schools took last year, that's an 8 back. So that's my lawyerly stance, even though I'm not a lawyer.
Okay. Emily, what would you prefer for us to do?
I am a one number.
Yeah.
Just
No shame.
as
No,
a-
no, I mean,
before
that's-
being on the school committee, as a parent or just a townsperson going to town meeting, I feel like putting 2 numbers out there is confusing. I think people aren't gonna listen past that. I think asking for an override already is stressful and hard, so putting 2 numbers out there, I think is just gonna cause more conflict within people to decide.
Oh, that's
And we
good.
want them to say yes. So, I think 1 number, even if it's a little more than the second option might be if we did it tiered, I think is the way to go.
Okay. Laura.
We have been very clear in our ask. I thought too conservative, but I'm trusting Dr. Fortuna's wisdom. We have been very clear in our ask for what we need next year, the 1.9. We've been pretty clear with that. I had originally been 1 number, and then after the finance committee, I really thought about, especially what Anna Lockwood had said about hedging our bets, and how devastating next year is going to be if we don't get an override, and how maybe at least we could get a tier 1 passed, and we could limp by for another year. But then I didn't finish it. I watched the select board meeting on Monday, a workshop where they were talking about their budget, and they decided to fund the fire department in their regular budget. And I was concerned because a comment was made, oh, we haven't actually done our restoration budget yet, as in they're going to add more onto their ask. And now I have concerns if we do 2 numbers, that second number of our necessity restoration, restoring less than half the positions lost last year number, people will not vote for it because it's going to balloon when the town decides that they also need an equal amount to that. And I have real concerns about that now. So I think I am now back to wanting 1 number, the restoration budget that we asked for. Because I have concerns about if we go for a 2-tier override, that upper tier is going to be massive. Just hearing the comment, oh, we haven't done our restoration budget yet, whereas we know what we need. there are more things we could certainly ask for that I don't feel comfortable asking for at this point because we're already asking taxpayers for a lot, but this is what we need. We've done a year of this. We've done, how many months are we in the school year? We've done 67% of the school year.
We got our first look at the budget at the beginning of November.
Yeah.
It's like the first half of November.
We've seen the effects that these cuts have had on our students. We've seen what it's like to not have everything the kids need. And I'm just very concerned that with a two-tiered override, that number would balloon. I think I'd be steady in our ask. I think the 1.9 and the 1.5 are reasonable for a tier 1 and tier 2, but now I have concerns. And I can't control what the select board does. I am not on the select board. It is not our purview to tell them what their ask is. We just have to, good faith, make our ask and say this is what we need and this is what public education requires and this is what the students require and hope they believe us. But I'm back to the one number, but I think it would be prudent for us to prepare two budgets so that when we sit down, we've done the work and we've done our homework and we can say we're ready to go, because these things need to be hammered out now. We need to do this, the next tri-board meeting. We need to have a proposal because we need to start talking to people about what it means and what we're gonna lose and what
We
an
also have
override
to get
can
it to
do.
the town clerk.
Yeah,
April
so
11th is the due
this,
date.
but even, I think this needs to be done like next week.
Yes.
We need to figure out, like Mandy made the point at the tri-board meeting, we need to know what we're campaigning for. And the sooner the better, because this takes time, and we are less than 2 months away from the election.
I know you don't get a vote, but I would like you to give us some guidance.
Yes, that's great. I believe that we should use the core budget as our lower number. I think that is what we need, and I think it's appropriate for an override. I am terrified about what will happen if we have a no vote on that. And so even today, I was waffling, do we use the core as our higher tier and a level service as our lower tier? Because at least we know we can limp along with level service, and not ideal, but not devastating the system. So I'm still juggling those two options in my head. Ideally, we will get the core budget and we could make that work.
Well, ideally, we'd get the restoration.
Yes, but I'm not sure that we should put the 1.9 out there.
At all, so you think just one number, 1.5?
Or two numbers, the
1.5
levels.
and 1.9.
No, two numbers, 1.5
1.5 and 1.2.
and 1.2.
Oh, God.
Okay,
It's
all right.
just really hard to campaign for an override while still not.
So here's my perspective. I think that we should only debate one number tonight. I think that Dr. Fortuna has given us a lot of good ideas and good work, and so we have two numbers if the select board asks for it. But in terms of debating the numbers, what's in, what's out, I think that we should focus on one number. What that number is will be the next question I ask everybody on the panel. I do have to say that I think that whatever we do, we have to be cognizant of the fact that the odds that an override will pass now are significantly reduced. The moving fire from the override to the town budget is devastating. And it's unfortunate because the school department has been put into a position where we don't have the flexibility of cutting, $500,000 in one place.
We didn't have that much money
and
in
put
our
it-
budget to move.
Yeah, and move it around. And that's just the nature of the beast. I can't, I can't fault them for making that decision. I think that if I were in that position, I may have made the same decision. But the reality is the politics have gotten way, way worse. And so,
Do we ask them to just put our number on their own?
Could they? Can we do just a school override?
I mean,
And
I
I mean,
think,
they can do what they want.
yeah, I think they could. But I still, the tri-board meeting process was pitched to us as a way for all of the boards to work together to help craft an override that helps all parts of the town. And that was how I justified spending the amount of time I did in the process and talking to people, sending emails, meeting with people. And so as long as we were all working together as a town, I felt like even if it was laborious, even if I was like sick as a dog, I would still go and make it work. And then, you know, moving, and every one of those meetings was premised on fire being in the override.
Yes.
You know, we had talked to.
That's why it was important to
Yeah.
me to do a collective override.
Yeah.
That's why this was important. This is why I agreed to it, and the terms changed.
And I think that like, whatever the reason is, whatever the timing was, like, I'm not privy to the thought process behind it. I just know that it has basically all but guaranteed that the override fails.
What I gathered from, I'm sorry, what I gathered from Ms. MP was that there's still a fairly significant safety
Sure.
risk on the override that I believe the voters will care passionately about,
Yes.
and that's staffing their ambulance.
Especially
Oh,
because the ambulance
I definitely agree with
responds
that.
to a lot of calls.
I think that like
But we're not selective.
the reality of what the override looks like and the political view of what the override looks like. If you say to somebody, do you support fire? They're gonna say yes. If you say, do you support, 50% cut in per diem for I forget how like they're categorized. It becomes very
it's not
difficult to
simple.
explain it, right? And like, when we had the discussion about the tiered override, and then we had the discussion about like doing this together, doing this separately, all of it was pitched on, this is a simple message, we're in this together. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, I don't think that that's necessarily the case anymore. And so I think whatever we do, we're kind of just rearranging the chairs on the Titanic. I hate to be
Tony,
pessimistic.
I don't know you're so pessimistic, and.
It's over, we're done.
No, but you know
No.
what, 2 years ago, I
We're not.
sat up there and I cried and I was very emotional and I pushed us over the finish line. And there were many, many people that helped me, and someone texted me, there's 66 people on this Zoom right now, maybe that's not right, but I texted to ask. So there are a lot of parents here that really want this to happen.
Oh, I want to
No,
have
but
fun.
but-
This is now a school override.
But this is the thing,
With the
the-
select board
The
adding things
select
on.
board hasn't told us what their section is, and the parents are gonna carry this over the finish line.
Yep.
So that's where we have to, so we gotta keep our eye on the prize. We gotta keep
agree,
our
I
eye
agree.
on the
And
prize.
so with all of that
So my
said,
eye on the prize is, let's go with 1.6 or whatever. Let's tell the select board in a letter that they cannot go very high, they can't go over, we cannot go over $3 million.
we can't, look,
We can't.
it is
We,
very clear to me at
cannot
this
tell them
point
what to do,
that it's
Tony,
over.
but
We can't do anything, they're gonna do what they wanna do,
but
it's over.
we can
It's
put
not
in
though.
writing what we want, and the 66 people on this call, who hopefully are listening in support of their kids, can also email the select board and tell them that's what they want, and if they don't like the idea, and if they don't like the idea of the town override budget being part of the school budget, then they can email them and say, just do a school override. Because the select board, they have to
How'd
decide.
that work out last?
I would hope that, not like last year, they would put it on the ballot if it passed at town meeting, because that was a ridiculous display last year. So I would like to keep our eye on the prize, and just, can we do a letter that says we support a $1.6 million override for the schools?
Yes,
And that says we're not discussing a lower tier than that?
I
We're
think we
out.
should give them one number. The more complexity that we add, the worse it gets, especially when we do not have the political.
Will. And the other
Message that
thing
we
I
did
would like to
before.
say to any select board member, I know there's one in the room, and also, but when we come next week, if we are having a tri-board meeting next week, I would like the select board to tell us what their override numbers are, because if I'm coming to a meeting next week just to be told our number has to come down, that's just not, that is basically all the tri-board has been us sitting there, everyone telling us that our number is too high the last few meetings, where we have not seen a number from them.
Here's the problem. The town charter gives the select board purview over all of this. We cannot tell anybody what to do.
Tony, I know that.
But
But
it's like,
political will can make things happen. I know.
I don't think it's a lost cause. I think that when we go over these cuts tonight, it's going to be clear what this is gonna do to the school system, what this is going to do to people's property values, what it's going to do to people who want their kids to be in, maybe above the 50% that are below reading level, this is going to matter, this is going to affect the future of the town, what kind of town we become. Because we've been running so lean for so long, things are going to tip this year without an override.
So who's gonna draft this letter and
Well,
how?
I'll draft the letter.
I don't know that we
Okay.
need a letter.
No, I want it in writing.
We're
I
going-
want it, I,
We
We're
can do
going
that.
to tri-board on Tuesday.
I am 100%, I do not wanna talk about this with you all anymore, I love you all, but we have talked about this to death, ad nauseum.
I think we should
We need
pick
to have a
one number.
position.
We'll have Dr. Fortuna's other number in our back pocket in case there's a will to do a tiered override. And I think that if we put it in a letter that basically says, you know, given what happened in the last 5 days, we feel it's best for the students of Lunenburg to have
One number.
one number.
1.6 million, Dr. Fortuna says that is
Yeah.
the lowest we can go to really not limp along and not have to be back in the ballot boxes next year. I mean, we may still need to be, but
The other thing that's a little frustrating is that the tri-board meeting was pitched as working together, and it was pitched as like projecting out.
For
And then we
3
just
years,
gave
this was
out.
supposed to
We
be a
gave
3-year
up.
override, and then it was, no, that's too
No.
big, you
Too
guys
much.
are
It's
asking for too much, so now this is.
We
a
just
year
all gave up,
override.
and it wasn't finance or select board or us. We just, like, last meeting, we all basically were like, it's too hard. And I was like, we've been saying that for, you know, since the budget task force, everyone was like, oh, this is impossible. And then like, we produced something, people were like, that's useless. And then we did the same thing at the tri-board meeting, it's like, guys, it is hard, but we still have to do it. And I think that by doing this thing where we have a tiered override, the objection I have is that it is in some ways an inaccurate representation of the financial health of the town
Yes.
to the voters. We're basically saying, you know, if you give us this lower one, it'll be great. But it's not, because we're gonna have to do it again. And so like, the more that we have to go back to the well, the worse it gets. I'd rather just, you know, pull the Band-Aid off once and have it done. You know, Dr. Fortuna has projected this out, even though that
Yeah,
was,
our team worked on the projections.
They
We have
projected out the-
projections through
and-
FY '29.
she said on the record in front of the FinCom that, you know, we would be at level services, provided, you know, one version of the override passes. So like, I'm fine with that, but I think that like, going in on a lower number and, you know, not,
and not trusting that the voters.
or
So
not
this is-
telling the voters that it's not accurate.
Right,
Like,
this is
we're
the
gonna
thing.
have to do another one the next year.
When you wear your political hat, is someone gonna come to vote, right, and decide? Maybe they're gonna decide based at a certain point that they're not gonna vote for it. But in my mind, a parent who's coming to schools to vote is going to vote for it, whether it's 1.2 or 1.5. So we
Yeah, I
want
don't-
the 1.5.
I don't think that difference is enough to dissuade people who would vote for the override.
Yes,
Should we
exactly.
just ask for the FY '29 number and,
So,
we're all doing our own thing now.
no, like,
No, we still gotta at least, you know,
so
be
this is.
nice and play together and.
So we're writing a letter, Tony's gonna write the letter, it's gonna say, are we gonna edit it, or you're just, I'm
It's
just
gonna be
gonna
like
believe you?
2 sentences.
Yeah, that's fine, 2 sentences.
No,
We want one number, this is our number, we are done talking about this.
this is our number, if you ask for a tier, we are ready for that as well.
But it will
Done.
be higher.
Yeah,
And
that's it,
Okay,
done. Alright,
okay, can we talk about the cuts
wait,
budget?
before we go, let's
what,
just,
wait,
let's
what
take
number
a,
are we aiming for?
well, let's take a vote. Are we all in agreement that we are providing, select board with one number?
Yes,
Okay, but before we do that, I'll make a motion, can I make a motion? I'll make a
You say
motion
and I can say
to
so.
provide the select board with one number.
So moved.
Okay, and is there a second?
second.
Alright,
Oh, wait.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, alright. So now we are gonna debate one number. I think that given Dr. Fortuna's advice to start out with the 1.5, so scenario C.
1.6, I'm looking
Yeah,
at
it's
the,
1.6.
I read.
The $1.6 million scenario C core budget. I'm gonna just go down the line and start with Emily. Are there things in here that you don't want in here, things that are not in here that you want? Where are we at?
Hold on. Oh, so I'll look at the. And also, I understand this is frustrating for people at home because it feels like, so we can't talk amongst ourselves outside
Oh,
of
this is
meetings
awful.
because of open meeting law. We cannot have, we have to do this here. We have
We
to
have
have
to
this
waste
discussion.
everybody's time,
And the
but
select board has to do it too, they're beholden to the same open meeting laws we are. And so, we gotta do this week by week, meeting by meeting, and I understand it is incredibly frustrating. But this is what the law is, this is how it works, because this is how we do things out in the open.
except the people that pass the open meeting law are not subject to the open meeting law, so I think that's a little bit of.
Okay,
baloney.
we're getting on the, Emily,
That's pretty much how it works.
I'm sorry, I just wanna be home before midnight, I'm trying.
I mean, it's not ideal, but it's better than the alternative, so.
Is there anything, any position
So
or
I-
expense that you would like to put in, or any position
I-
or expense you'd like to remove?
I mean, the interventionist is concerning to me.
At the high school level?
Yeah.
How many
I don't think-
interventionists will this give us at the high school after this loss?
Zero.
Right.
0?
So they don't have any right now, this would be an addition after the loss last year.
No, we
This-
have one interventionist position right now,
So
this
they
is
would
making
lose it.
zero.
This would be a loss to the high
They
school.
would lose the interventionist at
But
the
they
high
would
school.
gain the bridge program.
But you would gain the
Oh.
bridge program, okay, and that's what you would, obviously you'd love to have everything, but
Yes.
if you have to choose, you feel like the bridge program is,
That's what we've discussed. yeah.
okay. Sorry, I didn't
Can
understand
I
that,
read,
so.
can I read for people who don't have this?
Wait, let's let
Okay.
Emily finish and then.
I mean,
we'll go down
that's-
the line.
That's what I have to say. I don't, I mean, I agree the bridge program is absolutely necessary, but so is an interventionist. So it's, I don't love that we're losing that, but if we're, you know,
You're the only teacher
I know,
Yeah.
on the
I
board,
know this.
and you're the only person that, on the board that actually knows what this means. So do you wanna give us like an idea of why you would be okay with losing an interventionist if it means we keep the bridge program?
Well, the bridge program is necessary for the students that are not getting it. I mean, we cut the whole program last year. I was not on the school committee, I did not do that, but we as a whole did cut the bridge program. So those students have no access really to what they need. I mean, an interventionist is very important for the kids that are falling behind, like we know at the primary school with their reading levels and things like that. At the high school level, it's a little bit different, but there's still gaps that need to be bridged. No pun intended. to bridge.
I was like, that's pretty interesting.
That's why it's called that, because
But-
it is essential bridge for kids returning to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in Mr. Santry's shoes. I trust his opinion on what's important right now, and I know he's not saying that an interventionist is not important. He's weighing the worst possible scenario to figure out what we can do with our schools. I do worry that an interventionist is going to cause gaps in kids' learning, the kids that need it, that are falling behind, since we've only had one at the high school this past year. And I know there's gotta be more than one student on an IEP at the high school, so, or needing that interventionist support. It's not a great decision either way,
And
but
these are
I
kids-
understand why he's pushing for the bridge program,
The
that's
kids-
important as well.
Not to harp on the COVID learning losses, but these are kids who
Oh yeah, my son is one.
were third,
Yeah.
fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Yeah.
No, second, third, fourth, and next year it'll be second,
Yeah.
third, fourth, and fifth grade, when COVID came. These are kids who were learning pretty vital basics when COVID hit, and they're still in school and they're still trying.
Yep, the two programs, thank you for, I guess I came up here, I wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I want you to, we want you
You
to.
can shout from the back or behind the mic.
Yeah, like, I got stuff to say.
So the two programs service two different students.
Yeah.
So the Bridge program is servicing students that may have been in a sub-separate, but are on a graduation track. Intervention program targets kids that may drop out of school, and those become between 8 and 10. So we tried to function without the Bridge program, we
Yeah.
were unsuccessful. That's why I'm proposing that comes back in. With the reduction of the intervention program, which has been extremely successful, keeping kids in our building, not choicing out to a Goodrich or another alternative high school, saving us money from choice also. I also want to keep that in mind. I don't wanna resurrect Tony's analogy, but it is a tough decision between the two.
Yeah, I'm never doing that again. That was like just a heartless way to put it.
But this is what it feels like the puppy. How would things work? So I asked you this about the Loss of the Bridge program, and the answer was, you and Mr. McGrath said, we're handling it, we're doing what we can. What will it
I
look
think
like
you're
for
getting
them?
confused between the two. With Mr. McGrath, you'd be talking about the interventionist at the middle school.
schoolers.
We're
Okay.
talking about the
So
high school, the
what
bridge
will
that,
it- What will it look like for you without an interventionist? Where do we fill those gaps? How would those needs get?
so sometimes those needs will be met by our guidance department, sometimes they'll be met by our teachers after school. We don't have a targeted person in order to meet those students' needs. We didn't have one 3 years ago. We put that program into place, it's been pretty successful. These are all tough decisions.
Emily, do you mind if I hop in and ask a question, Mr. Santry? So, the interventionist at the Lunenburg High School costs $161,064 under this proposal. Last year, we spent $146,000 on athletic transportation. Which keeps kids in school more? How should we spend that money?
That's a difficult question, I
that's-
don't have the
that's
answer to.
That's what I'm asking.
Athletics keep kids in school. That program targets like 8 to 10 students that we have determined it's very important for them to get a diploma.
Yeah.
So that's a difficult question.
And then when Coach McDonald was here, he talked a lot about how the athletics really keeps kids on a path, because it basically dangles a carrot out in front of them. And then when we met with the parents and the athletic boosters, they said something very similar. The data that we looked at last year talked about the impact of athletics in terms of keeping kids in school. That was a measurable, statistically relevant, and repeatable number over time. And so, I know that it's asking you to compare apples and oranges, but what are the numbers like for truancy and non-attendance? And are the kids that are generating those numbers, are those people that could be reached, if we said if you don't come to school, you don't play soccer. Is that an effective incentive to get the kids that we have in the event that we can't fund the interventionist?
Well, we kind of do have those rules, right? If you're
Yeah.
not successful academically, you can't participate in academics.
And if you don't show up.
And if you don't show up, you can't be in practice that day. If you don't come, you can't be in a game. So we do have those kind of guidelines put into place for athletics.
So the kids that are not showing up, that would be serviced by this interventionist, are outside the reach of the current system with the athletic offerings we have.
I would say the students that we are servicing, I'm not gonna stereotype it, but maybe not be the athletic,
Okay.
in athletics.
Okay.
It's an interesting conversation, Tony, because I also have looked at the athletic transportation only, not the sports themselves, but the athletic transportation is $145,000. I really want sports parents involved in the override, and so I worry that cutting that transportation line item is a reason for sports parents not to be involved and to be upset that we are not servicing their children. I'm wondering if Emily agreeing thinks that the interventionist is very important, and we're still trying to stay at that 1.6 million, is there a way we could do part of the sports transportation? Could we charge people for sports transportation in a way that,
If we took out 50,000,
like if we took part of it to pay for a part-time interventionist in that tier?
if we took out.
I know we're not supposed to do math on the fly, Tony.
Duh.
If we
Yes,
took out 50,000 from sports transportation, then we could make our override ask 1.7,
What?
because it's,
I don't think we're going in the right direction.
I don't think we're going to.
No.
well, I know,
No, I'm talking about the core
Hold on,
services.
wait.
yeah.
Let Dr.
Provide
Fortuna.
us
Yeah,
more
right.
services.
I think it's Well, both programs are important. I think it's very important to note that in order to get to what I'm calling the core service budget, we needed to make strategic cuts.
Yeah.
One was the high school interventionist, the other was the .2 band, the third was middle school sports.
And that .2 band gets rid of,
And that gets rid of fifth grade band.
yep,
May I ask, every single number in this core budget, or every single item in this budget has a number except for that music teacher and
I
how
just
much?
updated it, it's 9,862.
Sorry, thank you.
Okay.
I must be on an old version of
it's not. I really think that one is going back.
Oh, that's still not the one in the link to, in the.
I mean,
really,
I'm
But
just,
that's okay.
and I know that this is the way it goes, and I don't wanna like flummox you or Chris, but like, $9,862 is not a lot of dough.
Right, that's not making.
Especially
can we
when
please add that back in?
we get a bunch of kids,
He's like,
a bunch of kids making a band.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Sanchez.
all right,
So the band,
Let's-
I think they had like 75% of the kids participated in fifth grade band. It was a ridiculous number.
No.
90%.
What?
It's 90% of the kids that start at the beginning of the year finish. the
Okay,
year.
yeah.
but
Okay.
like
We've got
when,
our two biggest classes of sixth grade band this year right now than we've had in years.
last year when I went to the fifth grade band concert, there were at least as many kids on the stage as there were of their classmates in the audience watching. It is a very popular program. We are trying to rebuild the band program. I think there's 18 kids in the band this year. I was emailing people on the fly. So there's 18 kids in the band last year, and Ms. Lockwood was talking about how the band was decimated by budget cuts when her children were young, and the band fell to 30 people.
If I
And
could
now-
ask, if you could take away some of the supply budget and please put that back, the music aiders will step up and fill the supply budget.
okay, wait, hold on, time out. Time out, wait.
Yeah.
I am happy to have any comments, and we can do comments. One of the things that I have been told I'm very bad at is managing, like, the back and forth. And the back and forth is probably a violation
You're
of
not
the
being a
meeting law.
judge.
I'll wait your turn.
And so, what I wanna do is I wanna like try to stick to the budget, stick
Okay.
to comment, and then anybody who wants to talk, I'm not limiting your ability to talk. I just wanna keep it in order and have it so that it's not a back and forth. The next person that was gonna talk was gonna be Mandy, but Mandy just stepped out.
One more question
Oh,
for
go
Mr.
ahead.
Zantry. How many students does the Bridge program service?
Or will it?
Or will it service when put out? Or what did the Bridge, how many students did the Bridge program service prior to being cut?
About 8 to 10.
And do you foresee the same amount?
We are in the
If we
middle of
reinstate.
registration right now and transitioning from 8 to 9, and I anticipate a similar number.
Okay. And so the one teacher and the one paraprofessional you see as fit
Yes.
for that?
Hmm?
And to be clear for people, we're talking about like programs that keep kids in school, that get kids their high school diploma. Like, this is the stakes that we are debating right now, is programs that will change a kid's life and the trajectory of their life, okay? And educating the kids, getting them that diploma is a basic thing this town should be doing. I'm really mad about this.
All right. Emily, do you have any other questions or concerns about core budget?
Just a statement about the middle school sports. Actually, I had this conversation with my son earlier because I was going back and forth thinking about it. Because he did do middle school sports, but he was able to play on JV as an 8th grader. And I know that that's an opportunity that some middle school students can get. And I also know that we have a lot of community-led teams as well. So that as much as I hate cutting the sports at middle school, it's not something that's going to disappear for kids. There's still opportunities there for kids that want to play middle school sports, just not at their middle school. But there are lots of other ways that they can still get that same community and sport. That's it. I'm done.
All right.
For
Mandy, Do you have anything that you would like to see taken away or added to scenario C core budget? As this is the number we are giving to, select board.
Yes, so I'm not happy about the interventionist in the general life, but I think that's what we have to do to get to a little bit of a lower number. I'm okay with that. I would ask that we add back the music teacher for the 10 grand, because we're still gonna be under 1.6 with that $10,000. And I think that that's an important program. And I agree about the middle school sports. I think middle school sports are great. Fortunately, we have a lot of wonderful parents in this community and other folks who do run really great sports programs for middle school kids. And I just think we have to lean on those in this time.
Is there anything that you would want, removed? You talked about what you want to add back in. Is there anything you would remove? Either from the additions or from the regular budget as has been presented to us in the past?
So I think it's asking a lot at this point to rethink I let Dr. Fortuna know this beforehand, and I have said it. When we get to the cuts budget, I am going to recommend that we cut all high school sports transportation of $145,000. In this budget, I want to keep some of that because I think it's really important. I don't know if there's any way we could figure out how to, again, I don't want to put you on the spot, right? But like, could that number come down at all, and we could transport kids who just need it, or I don't know. So many seniors drive that it feels like some of it is a little bit, and I understand there's team bonding on the bus. Like, I mean, I rode the bus when I was a kid, when I went to sporting events.
What about the kids that can't drive?
Yeah, but
Or
people
don't
can,
have
but
parents
people,
that are working full-time and can't get them to their games.
I know, but I feel like people can carpool. Right now, this baseball and softball team, they practice at Marshall Park, and they get there. Those kids get there by carpooling with the older kids.
Yeah, we can talk about that, because I definitely have thoughts on that when we get to the cuts
Okay.
budget, but it's not under this.
Do you have anything else you want to put in?
No, that's it.
You good?
I'm good.
Laura, what do you want to put in? What do you want to take out?
I wanna say that just once it'd be really nice to be, I don't know, adding programs or adding a teacher or lowering class sizes, and I've been on the school committee 3 years, and it's not fun. I mean, I knew it wasn't gonna be fun, but this is just, I don't know. I live in a town that just continuously chips away, and it would be nice to add something for once. I have serious concerns about the interventionist, however, I'm not an educator, and I'm gonna trust what the principals say and what Dr. Fortuna says, and if it's a cut that we can live with, then I'm gonna have to trust them on that, but it hurts, and I would like to once again point out that, like, we were talking about the trajectory of students' lives and where they end up, and this town's basic duty to educate its kids, and that is the stakes of what we are talking about. It's disappointing. I'm not okay with cutting 5th grade band, because I think the price is so low compared to everything else. And I really think, I know that we only recently added the 5th grade band, and I know it was a rather recent addition, but that, kids need to start learning music around that age. It's incredibly beneficial for them. When we get them before middle school, we hook them a little early, and I've seen what band does for kids. It does for kids what sports can do for kids, and there are some who do both. It's not an either or, it's not a binary, it's not something to compare, but I've seen what band can do for kids. I know an inordinate number of children, of students, who are now going to college for something related to music education, which they got that love through Lunenburg schools, and without the opportunities at Lunenburg schools, maybe they would not have discovered that passion. I really think we need the 5th grade band. I think that we're trying to rebuild the band. I think it's small money. I would rather take that from athletic transportation. Small money, okay, compared to the,
No, I'm just laughing. If you're watching the edits, then I'm sure.
oh, is she? So sorry. I would rather take that money from transportation or,
Add it to the number?
or add it to the number because it still won't change
It'll
the
be
final
one,
thing.
it'll be very close,
Um,
it'll be 1.6 now, right?
I'm not thrilled about eliminating middle school sports, but at that age, there's still club sports going on and, other programs, sometimes other towns have parks and rec programs for their students.
7th and 8th grade also has the
Yep.
opportunity to play JV.
And, I mean,
So
my.
it's really eliminating sports for sixth grade.
Yeah, and, I mean, my sixth grader participated in it, it was fantastic, and now she's hooked, and we just signed up for another season, but I don't, that one I think we have to cut. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not happy about any of this, so, I'd like to add back in, I'm getting the edits live.
That's hilarious. Like,
So I'm like looking at the old one.
Do you have the line?
do you feel like you're hurting cats?
No one other than the school committee can see the live edits.
Oh,
just
yeah,
so that
that's-
anyone knows, like,
Yeah, because we cannot edit
So-
the document.
Yes, there it is, okay.
It's just a small.
I would very much like to add the fifth grade band in. I think it's one of those small things. It's not a lot of money to spend for the amount of impact it has on the programming.
Done.
You know.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add or take away?
Not without swearing.
Okay. I think that the core budget is a good proposal for the override. I agree that we should add back in the .2 music teacher. It is such a small amount of money, and like, if that's what ends up breaking the school, then, you know, whatever. It's impossible for me to imagine that we can't work $9,862 back in when the town could find money for a fourth shift fire department, just saying. I am concerned about some of these proposals if we were not suggesting an override. I'm torn on a moral level about forcing people to pay for kids to be transported to school, but not kids to be transported to sports. I cannot, in good faith, reconcile that in my head, but as a political thing and as a thing to encourage the participation and support of sports, I am glad that their sports transportation budget is untouched in the override proposal. So as it exists now, if we were to eliminate the cut to the music teacher, I would be in support of the core budget. I am a little concerned, because we got a presentation from Mr. Santry about truancy and dropout, and that is on the rise. I am wary that we do not have a full panoply of tools in Lunenburg to deal with that. I would never support sending somebody to court for that, and I mentioned that before. Mr. Santry convinced me that that was a terrible idea. So I just am worried that we know this is an issue and we are not addressing it. So like, if it gets worse, I don't know what we would do, right?
Do half-time positions exist for interventionists, or is that one of those things where it's very difficult?
It would be difficult to fill.
So with that, I think I would be in support of this as the core budget. Does anybody have anything else they want to add, or can we take a vote on this?
Do you want to know what the deficit would be? Because
Sure.
Chris has sent it to me. It's now $1,601,140.
Let's do
Can you
it.
say it one more time?
$1,601,140.
You know, we could add the interventionist back in and it would still be.
No,
1.6.
dude, we
And it would
can't keep
still
doing
be-
this.
No.
We gotta
no,
just.
We gotta just do it, we gotta just do it, just do
Say
it.
the number, let's go, we can't keep doing
It
this.
would still be 1.6 though.
No.
No, we gotta just do it, let's do it.
Alright,
Oh, no, it wouldn't, oh.
yeah, I am in favor, so I'm gonna.
I'm gonna make a motion to
There we
accept the
go.
core budget as we just discussed, as our suggestion to the select board for our override number. We are only recommending one number.
All in favor, or wait, second?
Second.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Alright, now we go on to the really unfun part. Balanced budget, scenario D.
That was the fun part.
Would you like me to walk the public through this?
Yes,
Oh,
please.
actually, can I go back, and I wanted to read aloud the staffing additions?
Oh, no, let's just
Did we do that?
let's just focus on what Dr. Fortuna wants to do. Let's just keep going, because we got a lot of bad stuff to talk about.
So this is scenario 5, the projected reality.
Yes.
This is if no override passes, what it looks like.
So the most immediate impact of this budget will be felt in the general education classrooms. The reduction of 4 classroom FTEs, 2.0 at the primary school and 2.0 at Turkey Hill School, is going to cut at the heart of education. It will increase our class sizes significantly, pushing student-to-teacher ratios to 27 to 30 students per classroom in grades 1 through 5. This reduces the amount of individualized attention each student can receive and places a heavier daily burden on our classroom teachers. In addition, we would be reducing interventionists, so our classroom teachers would not have backup for classes that size. Additionally, a 0.2 FTE reduction in the music department, in this budget this has to happen, at Turkey Hill will result in tighter scheduling, larger class sizes for our arts programming, and the elimination of grade 5 band. Our ability to provide targeted, specialized support to struggling learners will be stretched. The elimination of 1.5 interventionist positions, 1.0 at primary and 0.5 at Turkey Hill, will diminish our capacity to offer essential small group reading and math interventions. Furthermore, the loss of 1.0 certified occupational therapy assistant through attrition means that the occupational therapist will have to absorb higher caseloads, which could impact the frequency and flexibility of services for students with fine motor and developmental needs. Administrative and operational capacities will be visibly reduced. By eliminating a 1.0 assistant principal through attrition, the primary school in Turkey Hill will now be forced to share a single assistant principal. Splitting this vital administrative role between 2 distinct campuses will stretch leadership resources, delaying response to student behavioral needs, behavioral interventions, and daily operational troubleshooting. Additionally, the loss of 1.0 custodian through attrition means that the daily upkeep of Lunenburg High School will be managed by smaller teams. While these reductions were carefully calculated to stave off catastrophic system failures, the school committee and public must confront the stark reality. Balancing this budget forces a damaging departure from the educational standards our community expects. Moving forward, we are pushing our system to the brink, relying on unsustainability on the sheer resilience and dedication of our overextended teachers, administrators, and support staff to hold together a safe, supportive environment for our students under immense pressure.
Our ability to provide targeted specialized support to struggling learners is already stretched.
Yeah.
So just putting that out there. And also assistant principals at the Mr. Smith at the primary school is already doing far beyond what assistant principals are hired to do. The principal, Ms. Squire, and Mr. Smith are already doing teacher duties and behavioral support and much, much more than their everyday. So,
All while class sizes have grown.
right.
Which means more behavioral issues, more kids not getting what they need.
So pretty soon it's gonna be snapped, not stretched.
So just before we go to individual comments, I want to reiterate a couple of things. Number one, the town as a municipal government has an obligation to do very few things under the law. It can decide, for example, that it doesn't want to have a police department. It can decide, for example, it doesn't want to have a fire department. It might be ill-advised, but there is no legal or constitutional requirement to provide those services. People might not like it, but you could get rid of trash. People might not like it, but you could limit how you pay for paving. The one thing that municipal governments are tasked with doing, and when people ask us, why is the school such a high percentage of the town budget? It is because this is the only thing a municipal government must do. It must provide a free, appropriate, and public education. I do not believe that the balanced budget would assure every child in Lunenburg gets a free, appropriate public education. I am deeply concerned that removing 2 full-time employees from the primary school, especially in light of the fact that kindergarten has no para support would compromise their ability to function. And it's not because we don't have great staff, it is simply that one person cannot do all these jobs. It is simply unacceptable. We are at the brink, we are flirting with legal liability, and this is absolute madness. It is dumb that we are even in this position. We live in one of the wealthiest states in the wealthiest country in the world, and we are talking about trying to figure out how we teach kids to read.
It's insane.
All of the people who are thinking, well, I'm a senior, I don't get any benefit from the schools. Remember that the people that provide you with services at your doctor's office, or when you get older, at the old folks home that you're at, all of those people are gonna be people that have gone through an education system. If you want the person who's dishing out your pills to be illiterate, then keep going. If you want the person who is providing you with food to be illiterate, this is a great idea. But for anybody who has any sense of self-preservation or wants to live in a community, they have to understand that the balanced budget that Dr. Fortuna just presented is devastating, catastrophic, and potentially illegal.
We talked about this earlier today. When
Mic
we get
drop.
sued for not giving kids what they need, does that come out of our budget or the town budget, the town
It
side?
comes out of, the fate comes out of our budget, either through settlements or having to pay out of district tuitions for students.
Because that's what's coming.
Absolutely.
We're not giving kids what they need. I don't know how else to say it. We're failing, with this budget, we are failing the kids in this town. I would trade in potholes and worse roads.
I can't even
For
imagine
this.
teaching 30 first graders in one room. I can't even imagine.
I
I mean, I
just-
can't even imagine
I'm
maybe
having a
teaching 20
really
first
hard
graders,
time
but
with
that's,
We're not even sure 30 first graders would fit.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, can you mute? Okay. So what Dr. Fortuna just said, we're not sure we can physically fit that many kids in a classroom. But we're gonna have to. So, email the select board, I guess. Email your state legislators. You can email us. But, you're definitely preaching to the choir because this is, like, I wanna cry. Look, I'm having a really hard time imagining what this is gonna do for our kids.
Dr. Fortuna, I had a question from a community member about how this seems very, actually I have two questions about, seems very Turkey Hill and primary school focused. I know what I think the answer is, but I think the answer is that the middle high school has taken more hits over the last few years than anyone else has. But I just wanted to make sure that that was the correct,
That is the correct answer.
interpretation, and that the kids in the high school are so desperately close to not having enough time and learning that we cannot cut anything else at the high school.
You are absolutely correct.
Okay.
Alright, so let's go down the row and do what we did last time. Emily, you're
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
up first.
The state Supreme Court said you are allowed to swear, just so everyone knows.
What are you looking for from me right now?
You're the only
I-
teacher.
But what are you looking for?
I
What
guess basically
agree
if-
with, what I don't agree.
What do you
'Cause
agree?
I don't agree with any of this, but what do you want me to,
Can we?
what are you asking
So,
for?
hold on, let me ask you a question. You do this for a living,
Yep, not at a
and,
public school,
not at a public school,
so it's different. but-
and you teach kids that have a bunch of different needs.
Yep.
They all have learning differences. What would it be like to be a primary school teacher in a public school where you had 30 kids in first grade?
It would be insane. And those 30 kids are not all typical learners. So we're talking about 30 kids in a classroom and 5 to 10 of them could be on an IEP at that point because you're cramming so many kids into a classroom. It would be impossible to meet the typical learners and the kids on IEPs, all their needs, with one teacher. And possibly a paraprofessional in there somewhere.
So,
It's not feasible.
can I ask you a more generalized question? Do you think these cuts are evenly distributed across the student body?
I think given what we just discussed that the middle high school has had more cuts in the past couple of years. It's fair in that way.
But like, here's
But we
what,
also have, you know, kids that we know that aren't reading at grade level at primary and Turkey Hill, and what's gonna happen when they get to the middle high school. If we don't help them now, we're just perpetuating the problem all the way up to the high school, where we're not gonna have any interventionists to intervene.
So part.
It's just a chain reaction.
Part of the deciding factor, more than possible hits that the high school took, is we are close to being out of legal
Yeah.
requirements for time on learning based on the number of study halls, due to the number of classes that
Right.
we cannot offer students. And so cutting more staff members at the high school would lead to more study halls, which would lead to even increasing that problem even further.
Right. And I have, as a parent, outside of the school committee, I have a student at the high school, and I also have a student at the primary school who will be entering Turkey Hill next year. So I have the span of disappointment happening right in front of my eyes.
That's horrible.
It's not, as a parent, it's terrible. Like, what do I say to my kids when they have questions about, I have a 14-year-old who is very aware of things that are happening, and I mean, it's having the conversation of cutting sports and transportation even, and it's a lot on them as well. It's not, for anyone that thinks that it's feasible to have 30 first graders in a classroom, I'm sorry, you're out of your mind. It's not, it just can't be done.
It's gonna have to be.
My son is in a Spanish class with 30 students, that can't be done. So, it's not going great, I'm not gonna lie.
It's not.
So, imagine 30 first graders with half of them with so many more needs than a 14-year-old at that point. It's not gonna work.
Mr. Yvonne, if you wanna.
Just based on what we're hearing, wanted to keep Turkey Hill in the picture.
Yeah.
We're talking about 32 first graders, 30, think 30 fourth graders who are bigger than the first graders, fitting into trying to fit in the same amount of space.
Oh, and those fifth graders get
And as
Smelly. I mean,
rowdy.
I know, third graders looking at 28 to start the school year. And as a educator who taught 30 kids in a first grade classroom, yes, you can do it, but it's not optimal. We end up with more referrals for special education because as a classroom teacher, I cannot give students the attention that they need. The students who are getting it, for whatever reason, whether it's because they get a lot of support at home, or they're just naturally bright, don't get the extra attention they need, because I need to focus on those kids in the middle and those kids closer to the bottom, who I can get up, and then a lot more time is spent on going to the toilet, passing through hallways, getting paper together, putting on mittens, wiping noses. That takes away from time that we would be spending in education. The large class sizes are a pitfall for all of us across the district. But as I said to somebody this afternoon, we only get so much for our allowance, and we have to decide how we spend that, and the decisions aren't always best. Yeah, great.
Student Representative Kara?
May I ask a question, not necessarily even as a student representative here, because I know most of my peers would probably disagree with me on this, right? But your requirement is to provide an education. Why are we looking at so many staffing cuts to education before looking at any extracurricular cuts? And I am a kid who has been here for years talking about how much my extracurricular activities matter to me, but not at the expense of our most vulnerable students losing their opportunity at an equal education.
And I think that's something for the school committee to decide. We would still, if we even cut the entire athletics program at the high school, we would still have a deficit we'd have to make up.
Yes, but why are we spending $150,000 on athletic transportation, but not $150,000 on interventionists.
Yeah, I think we need to look at that.
We need to talk about that.
I'd like it if we could go through the budget and go through things that we've highlighted. I know I had some questions on certain things, and there's
Let's go down and then we'll
adjustments.
do that, but let's go down,
Okay.
maybe, everyone get your thoughts on the balanced budget.
I really don't have much to say, because I'm gonna cry, honestly. You told me I
Talked about it
couldn't,
today.
you told me I
It's
couldn't
the same
cry.
rule as League of Your Own, there's no crying.
There's no crying in baseball, there's no crying in school committee. So, yeah, I'm just gonna say I'm willing to cut all of the transportation for sports, and I'm willing to cut the trainer. I can't justify those costs in this budget. So that's all I wanna say. And, you know, I have 2 kids who have needs that are beyond what a traditional classroom sometimes can provide. And at some point, parents like me are gonna get to the point where their kid can't come to Lunenburg. And that Tony gives me a hard time that I'm a townie, but it would be devastating to me if I had to pull my children from my community.
She's gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry.
No, I've been thinking the same thing.
Right.
I love Lunenburg. I have a 2nd grader who is he's really great. Like some of you guys saw him in the back. He's really great when there aren't 30 other kids in the class. He's gonna be at Turkey Hill next year. If there are 30 or 32 kids in his class, I'm mad at myself for moving to this town. I failed my kids by living here. Great, Mandy, I feel like I failed my kids by moving here to a town that cannot provide an adequate education for its kids, and I am mad. I'm mad at the select board for being able to cut from their budget enough to fund a 4th shift for the fire department easily. I mean, not easily, but they could do it without crying. Now we're talking about cutting programs that let kids graduate high school, which, let me tell you, changes the trajectory of some of these kids' lives, and we are failing our kids. And I think this is one of the basic jobs of a town, is to provide its kids with an education. I have spent so much time in the past few weeks defending the concept of public education to people in this town in positions of leadership. And I am so mad about, I'm sorry, I don't want to yell. I am so mad about it, and having to defend the concept of public education, which started in Massachusetts. The first public school in Massachusetts was in 1635, and 400 years later, you think you got new ideas about public education. Taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for kids to be educated. Great. Don't ever go to a doctor younger than you. Don't ever go to a pharmacist younger than you. Don't ever utilize services that require education from anyone younger than you. Enjoy getting old. This is what a society needs to do. This is what a town needs to do. They need to make difficult choices, and they need to prioritize what's important. This is what's important. We are talking about kids' lives. I don't know what my kid, and I'm not just thinking about my kid, I'm thinking about all the kids who cannot be in a class with 30 kids. I'm thinking about the high schoolers who cannot get the electives they need to get into the college they want to eventually get the career they want to. If we're cutting things so much, we are affecting kids, we are affecting people's lives for the rest of their lives. I don't know how to, I'm so tired of having to explain that to people. If you're a parent, if you live in this town, if you support kids, you need to start emailing elected officials and appointed officials about how important this is and where our priorities are.
And you need to support the override, and you need to come to town meeting, and you need to vote. And you need to send me an email or find me on Facebook so you can come and talk to other people
May
about
2nd
this.
and May 16th. This is, I mean, I don't know what to say about it because it's the puppies. Like,
It's so bad, but
pick a puppy that does the least amount of harm. I mean, this is just, I do want to say the reasons that class sizes are going to go up with this scenario is because this should have happened last year, and the school committee was horrified about it last year. We decided to, I'm not gonna get on that. We decided to wait for an override, to do a comprehensive override, because we knew that the fourth shift for the fire department was looming. And we decided to wait for a comprehensive override, and I don't know if you remember that really fun meeting with the 195 slides. We worked very hard to make adjustments and cut expenses to the bone and make some very difficult cuts to keep the classes where they are. It would be a lot worse this year if we hadn't, but we're at make or break. This is what has to happen. There's nothing I can, these are all terrible choices, but there's nothing I would swap out, except I think we need to go line by line and talk about athletic transportation. I did want to ask Dr. Fortuna about the cost of extracurriculars, because I think some of those are funded by student activity fees, and the cost overwhelmingly for doing them is very little compared to what we need to cut.
Yeah, I'm just not sure there's that much money there, but we should hear about it.
I'm just
Yes,
saying,
but
we
no,
should
I
hear
wanna ask
spending
about it.
so much on
I-
athletic transportation.
So
Yeah, I mean that-
I would like to go through the budget line by line. I think we owe that to the public to look at it.
We're not gonna go through it line by line.
I think we need to go through the
No.
changes. What's changing? Yes, the
No,
select board
we're
did
not
it
doing
Monday
that.
night.
It's too much. It will not be
What line by,
productive.
what line by
Not
line?
line by line, but
There's-
there are changes. I
There's
would like to talk about
1,700
athletic.
lines.
Okay, there's 403, and we don't have to
Oh, no,
look at the
but we'd have
things
to
that
do that
aren't
on each
changing.
one.
We
No, it's
don't
too
have to
much.
look at the things that aren't changing. Some
Go to the
things
big
are not
ones.
changing.
We can just go to the big ones. Like,
Yes,
I don't
so
wanna
I'd
look
like
at the
to-
yellow marker line. It never matters.
No, but I would like to talk about athletic transportation.
Sure,
I
okay,
want
that's fine. I
to
just
talk
don't-
about changing how we're
I don't wanna literally go
categorizing.
line by line.
I wanna talk about the athletic trainer, and I wanna talk about how we're categorizing, the athletic director, because I'd like to,
Okay.
I talked to Dr., I'd like to change how we categorize the athletic director. I don't wanna change what we're doing, I just wanna change how we're categorizing it budget-wise for the future.
Okay.
And I'd like to point out, where we did make big cuts.
We'll do that. I just wanna give my input real quick and then I'll make it fast. So I would not support the balanced budget as it is currently drafted. I appreciate the time and effort you and Chris spend in this, but I believe that we need to fund curricular before we fund extracurricular. I am, the elimination of the Department of Education by the federal government is a bad thing, but to the extent that it eliminates federal funding for schools, it means that we no longer have to comply with Title IX. And so cut everything that we can without the restrictions of Title IX. I think that we should cut every sport. I think that we should cut every athletic funding, transportation budget. I think we should cut every band item, every single piece of the theater. I think that we should cut anything that is not related to teaching kids class. I know that sounds terrible, but it is not fair to place the burden of adult budget mismanagement on the shoulders of children who depend on us for education. This cannot be our budget. If we eliminate athletics entirely, we would save about $500,000. If we eliminated sports transportation, we'd save $145,000. That's, $645,000 right there. I think that if we eliminate all of the other extracurriculars, school would be miserable, and I get that, but I cannot justify funding the extracurricular before we fund the curricular. It cannot happen. It is not fair to say to a kid in primary school, we're gonna cram you in on this, tiny little desk because we don't have enough room, but we're going to pay $145,000 for 303 students in the high school to travel around the state of Massachusetts to participate in sports. And if we don't have Title IX, because we don't have the Department of Education, what we can cut looks completely different. And I don't wanna, I would never do something on purpose to discriminate, but if we don't have to follow the rules anymore because there's no federal funding, then cut everything. Cut everything until we get to a balanced budget without impacting actual classrooms. I will not support any budget that does not place the extracurricular on the chopping block before the curriculum. And if that's, miserable, so be it. That's the town's decision. Elections have consequences, votes have consequences, these are the consequences. I would much rather be in the position that Deb Z was talking about when we were talking to the athletic people, and she had said, I'm tired of hearing this mantra of we need to do this like a business, and these are not widgets, these are children. I 100% agree. But if the gun is placed to our head and we don't have any money, then we've got to cut the extracurricular before we get to the curriculum.
It's always the gun. Stop with the guns.
It's always a gun because the metaphor works. People got it. I just, no, I am not cutting at more educators in primary school. I'm not cutting more educators at Turkey Hill. I'm not cutting an assistant principal. I would cut the music teacher. I would not cut an interventionist. I would not fill the custodian. But then it would be sports transportation, sports, and, if people want to fund it themselves or find some way to fundraise, I'm happy to let them use the fields, but we cannot have a budget where we as a school are getting rid of our obligations to do school things. I can't, it's never gonna work. I would not vote for this as it exists. So I know that's a really unpopular position, but it's the way it has to be. The other thing is, I do think that there is some strategic value, as opposed to just slash and burn, to get down to what we need, by cutting athletic transportation. The athletic transportation contract is an option for first refusal. And so what that means is, we do not have to use the bus to do athletic transportation. But if we do put a bid out for athletic transportation, it has to go to D-Bus first, and then they can reject it. And so if we don't have to use them, in other words, we don't lose money by saying no, then we say no, and the next year we have a little leverage to negotiate with them. So instead of saying to them, here's our $146,000, and the next year here's our $153,000, we say to them, you know what? Next year, we're not doing this at all. There's no athletic transportation. You can just eat the $146,000 loss. And then the year after that, we come back and say, look, we would like to do this again, but you need to be more reasonable in your pricing. And if we don't do that, if we don't have the leverage from the actual, we got rid of this, I don't think they're gonna believe us. I think they're gonna just keep raising the prices every year. And so if we have to make a cut that has two purposes, one, to save money, and two, to give us leverage in future negotiations, it seems like a good one to make.
Mr. Chair, I just want to say that athletic transportation, we cut as one of our cuts already, it's 127.5.
Okay.
It's not 145 anymore.
Okay.
I just want
All right. That
to
works.
state that.
I would still cut it.
Yeah, I know.
Goodbye.
Just wanted to state it for the record.
Yeah. This balanced budget is an atrocity.
So can we go through this list of adjustments that Dr. Fortuna has suggested to us, that we all agree is horrendous, right? But are there any of these we can, I don't even wanna say live with, do you know what I mean? I just wanna say like what is the least whatever, and then we can talk about then we can at least add those numbers. Like, for example, the .2 music teacher at Turkey Hill, the custodian. Obviously, I want those people, but like I feel like those are two that if we have to go there, we have to go there. I mean, the occupational therapy assistant through attrition, that sucks.
I got some questions about that one.
Yeah.
Just, what's gonna happen without it? Will we be in compliance
Everything sucks.
with the IEPs?
It will be difficult to stay in compliance with the IEPs, and we're doing some really wonderful work for students that aren't on IEPs, that have sensory needs right now, and that will stop.
And those kids may end up having to go to outplace.
Oh, this is gonna cost us in the long run.
Oh, when we did the study on the air conditioning, we learned that the short term is all that matters.
It's this town, we're just interested in the right now instead of being proactive and solving problems before.
I am the prize, I am the prize.
I mean, if we're being
All right.
honest.
Right, I'm not
Hold-
trying to be difficult,
hold on.
but I just we gotta get our eye on the prize,
So-
because we gotta sell this, right? We don't want this, we gotta sell what we're going with.
So going through this budget and the large increases, our legal expenses, we have budgeted more, we increased that by $15,000. we had to, because, we have more legal expenses, and I'm telling you, we're gonna have more. What else? I'm looking at, we cut special ed legal services.
Yeah. And that's based on actuals.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, I got some highlights. Ugh. Okay. I'm looking at the, all right, the ELL supplies we gotta raise, we cut.
So, while lawyer's doing that, if we cut the certified occupational therapy assistant through attrition, the custodian through attrition, the music teacher through a regular cut, we cut athletics, band transportation, and athletic transportation, we would be over the $800,000 number.
How much are the athletics?
Athletics plus band transportation is $508,745.
Athletics are $503,745
Total?
total, all in.
How much comes in through the athletic fees? I know it's negligible, but I think we need to talk about it with the public, right? Like when people pay their athletic fees,
Yeah.
you know, what is that paying for?
That's paying for a lot. Chris? Give Chris 1 second.
Yeah, no problem, because I think that,
Would it be possible to look into one-way transportation? I
a lot of cuts out on the student
I did a little research on some of the communities that do one-way, so they would be bused from school and then parents or carpool home, because most kids are not gonna be able to get to sports without transportation, but parents will be home to pick up more often than not, for those that have that ability, which, but if we're talking about cutting sports altogether, then that doesn't matter, but I'm just putting that out there. There's a one-way busing that would cut it in half essentially, because the bus wouldn't have to sit there and wait for kids to be done
No idle
and bring them
fees.
home.
No, I
I also have a question
So-
about, if we're charging kids to get bused to school,
Mm.
are there actually bus fees separate from athletic fees for
Yes.
oh, there are, okay.
No, but.
No, there's
Like-
no separate bus.
Well, they-
No.
Like athletic
No.
busing.
So
There
the-
is no athletic
The
busing.
athletic fee is
That's
supposed
the
to, in
transportation.
some part, offset that. It's just, we hadn't raised athletic fees in a really long time, and so we did last year, and now that's supposed to be offsetting some of it, and it's just not enough. And athletics are expensive, especially to do them
Wow.
safely.
To do them as well as we do. I mean, like, we are talking about cutting sports the year that the girls indoor track were state champions. That is insane. Insane.
And it really affects kids staying in school. There
Sure.
are some kids who go to class so they can participate in sports, and we have an incredibly high participation in sports in Lunenburg. It is 48.
Yeah, 48.
Half.
48.5%.
So.
Of the high school kids.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes, so 48.5% of the high school kids participate in at least one sport. That's half of the kids at the high school do at least one sport. That's a lot. It's very important to them. And it is for a lot of people, it is a core part of the high school experience.
Yes.
And I used to not get it, and then it was explained to me to someone who said, my kid would not have graduated high school if they hadn't have had sports. They just wouldn't have gone to class. They wouldn't have gotten up in the morning. Like, we're talking about the truancy and the chronic absenteeism. That's gonna go way up, because there are kids, I know that when grades are bad, the coaches come and talk to the kids. It's an integral part. And I also I was at a wellness advisory meeting, and one of the things that they asked the kids, they surveyed the kids on, do you have a trusted adult that you can talk to with a problem? And 25% of the kids said no. And that is up from the last time that question was asked on a different survey in, I think, 5 years ago. That number has increased.
Well, I think
But those coaches are important, those relationships are important. This is,
But like when we talked to the booster parents, the athletic
Yeah.
booster parents, it was very clear to me that the coaches do an excellent job of making sports an incentive to stay in school. And by going to a balanced budget where we cut sports, we heard two things. Number one, that families would leave. Unfortunately, I think that there's a contingency of the town that would be happy to see the town shrink. There's same people that are like, no, I don't wanna drive through Dunkin' Donuts.
Those are,
But I also think that one of the issues that we have is, if the kids aren't coming to school, or the sports aren't there, and the kids aren't coming to school, what does that look like for those kids? I mean, it's not a good scenario, like, this is not, you know, like,
I'd be okay with.
it's very bad.
I'd be
It's
okay
very
with
bad.
cutting transportation while acknowledging there is a huge equity issue there. I'd be okay with cutting transportation significantly while still leaving some ways so that Mrs. Burns could make
I think,
very difficult decisions. So I guess I'd be okay with passing it on to her,
So,
which is not fair.
but we wouldn't have an athletic director.
We wouldn't have Mrs.
We're not
Burns.
God, you're right, that's
So
not even.
we would end up saving, if we cut all sports transportation, band transportation, the salary of the trainer, because we would need a trainer, the salary for the athletic director, we're at and then
I don't think that's town, I just think.
then we're at, and we cut the certified occupational, and the music teacher and the custodian, we're at $757,470.
I personally cannot vote for a budget that does not have any sports in it. I was crying over here about the whole thing, but I just personally cannot do that. So I'm happy to
We
take.
have to present a balanced budget.
So, yeah, so I'm telling you so the band transportation and the sports transportation, I think, are number 1, 2, and the trainer, so that's 3, right?
I would prefer we went to a halftime trainer. I have really evolved in my thinking of the athletic trainer when I went and looked up the stats. Athletic trainers keep kids alive, and it's a little horrifying how important they are. I'm okay with a halftime one, or cutting that down as far for what we can hire. I don't know if we can hire one, but getting rid of it wholesale, I think, if something happened next year, I don't know how I'd live with myself. And I think that the stats on athletic trainers are very clear as far as.
I just can't get behind that, because
But like, how do we?
these kids have doctors. These kids who have the trainer have doctors. If they get hurt, they come out of the game. The option
They
is,
don't always.
well, then they need to just come out of the game. The option is a trainer or a kindergarten or a first grade teacher. I just can't,
That's not
I can't vote for a budget that has a trainer in it and not
prices are
enough,
different.
first grade teachers.
If we tossed in the assistant principal lost through attrition, we're over the $868,918.
I cannot,
So what do you wanna cut, Laura?
I cannot support cutting sports, all of it. I just,
There's nothing else that we can cut that's not gonna impact education. I mean, like, we really
the
don't have.
sports impact education is what I'm saying. I really think it does.
But it is not education in and of
But I
itself.
think we're going to see a lot less kids graduating. I think we're gonna see a lot less kids going to
I'm
school.
just gonna say, like,
You're going to see a lot less kids.
the mean thing is, like, that helps the budget. Right? Like-
No, because then
Yes.
we don't get that
Yeah,
money,
they're
we
gonna
don't get
leave.
that chapter 70 money.
And those
It actually
No,
doesn't help
We
them.
don't know that.
Yes, we do,
Yeah,
chapter
we
70 is
do.
based on
If they
enrollment.
stop coming,
Tony.
we
No,
don't.
right, it's based on other things.
No, it's based on enrollment, it's an enrollment number.
It-
So, I mean, I don't mean to
Okay.
it's an enrollment number. If we have 50 kids who leave Lunenburg, we lose 50 kids worth of money.
I don't
kids
disagree,
will
I'm just
be-
saying that, like, you know, like, if your goal is to have the smallest taxes possible in municipal government, then all of these things that we are threatening those people with are like, sounds great to me. Like, we've got to see how the other side sees this. And if you're saying like, you know, parents are like, well, I'll just leave, that's one less cost that those people have to pay, right? Like, that is not an argument that will incentivize those people to vote for an override. It's just not.
I think we need to
I don't think
plan this
that
with the
that's
thought that an override might not pass, and
Oh, I
that we
agree.
have to live with it, and now we've got 50 kids who've school choiced out.
We don't have a choice. I mean, like, if we lose kids because of athletics, or we lose kids because they have 33 kindergartners, like, they're gonna lose them one way or the other. I would rather do our core function of provide education. I would not like to do any of these things, but if we have to cut one, we should cut the one that we are not obligated to provide.
Wait, what's, So if we just cut athletics, but athletic transportation, but not,
It only gains you $124,000.
It's, yes, because of the way they recalculate, it's just not enough.
So that, if we cut that, we cut, what's the band transportation?
$5,000.
$5,000. If we cut the, attrition of the, assistant principal,
That's 152 grand.
okay.
That's good.
Then we cut the
That's a big
custodian and the, what was the other thing?
Music teacher.
The music teacher and the occupational therapist. So what if we just keep, what can we cut to keep the 4 classroom teachers?
Sports.
You would.
I know, Tony, but I'm
In
just
order
telling
to
you, I'm
keep-
not sure the rest of us are gonna, like, you can say that, but we have to agree here.
I understand we have
At
to
this
agree,
table.
but we don't have a whole lot of choices. That's what I'm trying to, this is why I called it what I did.
Yes,
No
but then
one
you
wants
spent the
this.
first 15 minutes of the meeting telling us how terrible the override prospects were. You think you
I'm
want us
just
to, like,
telling you, like this, there's
Don't
no
zero in
other way to
traffic, but
cut.
that's another
Like,
bad.
there's just no other place to
Ouchie.
cut, folks.
We need to find $376,830
To keep the
to
4
keep the
classroom
classroom
teachers.
teachers.
I mean, to me, the 4 classroom teachers of anything, I mean, the educators in the room, I don't know, all of these positions are important, but to me, the 4 classroom teachers, I just can't even, I don't know, what do you think, Emily? You work in these, you work in,
Stop putting me in.
no, I just, no, I don't mean to. Well, the educators who
No,
are
I
here,
know,
the principals, is that,
We can give you the numbers, because we know the numbers of what your class size.
can you talk to the mic, I'm sorry, I had someone text me when Mr. Yvonne was speaking that they couldn't hear him.
we should just mic them up and. And I wanna say sorry, cause I know this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, this sucks.
So we can give you the numbers of what class sizes are gonna look like.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna have to make the decision.
Yeah.
So right now, because I just had 2 kids enroll in, as of today, so my first grade number went to 121.
How many
That
classes?
gives me, if we go to 4 teachers, I have 1 class at 31 and 3 at 30.
Yeah, we,
In my kindergarten, because I just had a student enroll, so I have 114. That puts my first grade classes, I will have 2 at 28 and 2 at 29.
With no pairs.
I thought we're still at 5 for kindergarten.
no, those kids are
That's,
gonna be at
those are
first
for
grade.
next year, so that's my
grade.
first and
First grade
second
is-
grade.
Yes, okay. Oh my God.
The kids going to Turkey Hill that are in second grade, we have 113 kids, it was 28 per class with 112, so now you're gonna have 1 that's gonna have 29 and 3 at 28. So those are some things that you have to decide.
Right, but so I'm asking you as an educator, right? An interventionist versus a classroom teacher in these positions. In my opinion, who knows nothing, right? I would think maybe we would want more classroom teachers, so you could have smaller class sizes than restoring an interventionist. Is that what you would say?
But we're not talking about restoring it.
Or cutting an interventionist, sorry. So on this list I'm looking at right here, right?
She made this, she helped.
Well, let's ask Dr. Fortuna this question.
Yeah,
Right,
because
Mr.
I can talk to you about potentially what could happen in my building next year.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want me to go there or you want me to hold that.
Hold for a minute.
Okay.
So I personally, and I haven't discussed this with my principals yet, I personally think a smaller class size over an interventionist is more important.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying I am not gonna vote for any budget that cuts these 4 teachers. I know Tony's not gonna vote for any budget that cuts all of these things.
No, I would not cut the 4 teachers, I would not cut the interventionist or the interventionist to Turkey Hill.
Right.
I would be okay with all of the other cuts,
So,
but we still need to make the gap up.
right, so
like
can
500
we
grand.
fill the gap with the 4 classroom teachers, the 2 interventionists? I know Chris is probably running the numbers
I
over
don't
there,
think we can.
Mr. Numbers guy. Well, let's figure out how we can, cause that's
So you wanna keep the interventionists as well?
No,
I don't think we
yes,
can.
yes. So let's say if we kept the classroom teachers and the 2 interventionists.
But
I do feel like I have to ask you about central office too, because there are no central office cuts on this thing. Again, I'm not,
No, it's good to ask because we are gonna get that criticism. Why aren't there cuts to admin?
Yeah.
And the answer is
The answer is, we have very little
Yeah.
admin to begin with,
Okay.
and there absolutely is nowhere to cut at the
Yeah.
central office and be able to support classes of this size or not having interventionists.
Yeah.
Dr. Sarfty is servicing at least 2 students that I know about, and probably more that she has put on
Like her
her
personal
caseload.
caseload.
Yeah, she is, one little girl with, a different reading profile. She's servicing a student who is learning English. So that is what our Director of Teaching and Learning is doing right now, in case anybody wonders, in addition to providing professional development and support to classroom teachers.
And
So.
to be clear, the curriculum office started off the year with 3 people and is,
It will be down
next
to
year
1.
will be 1 person.
Correct, yes.
So there are.
There
it's
are
not gonna-
reductions, yes, in that.
Because of the way we budgeted grants, it's not gonna be reflected in the budget, but that is what,
Yes.
that is what happened. Central office has been decreased.
Yes, okay, I just want,
And there is no,
I mean, the other place that we could go is the assistant business manager and the state reporting secretary and keep the status quo.
Yeah.
That's something that I heard very strongly from the committee was a priority, and that's why I haven't put it on.
The only non-student facing position I would never be willing to get rid of is the person to assist Chris. I think that just good business practices require we have one person to back him up. We learned the hard way, the town learned the hard way, that is not, it is the only thing that, like I said, other than people that are actually student facing, that I would not be able to vote against. I just couldn't do that, I could not.
So if we're going with the 4 classroom teachers and the interventionists, keeping those, we'd have to cut how much?
Okay. $566,435. Chris, is that what you're getting to?
Okay, so if we cut the trainer and we cut the the transportation, we still have to find $300,000.
No, oh, yeah. I mean, the other thing that we could do,
I mean,
Is we
I'm
could-
okay that sports taking a haircut, even more than what I'm
we
saying.
have a lot of sports offerings, can we?
I'm just saying, I think I
What
can't
if-
support no sports.
what if we did it so that there was, like, one sport for each side, for each season?
Each side.
Or, I don't
Each
know, I
gender?
don't- Yes, there you go, I'm sorry, I was thinking like, I don't know, yes,
How do you
each
pick
gender.
between like indoor track and basketball when we have teams for each that are both in the winter who both?
I mean, like,
And
one
it
way we
would
can do it
matter-
is
the
like,
numbers would matter.
what gives us the biggest bang for our buck, right?
How many
Like,
kids sign up for each?
how much does it cost, how many
A
kids?
track team can also support a lot more kids than a basketball team.
Sure.
can.
Sure.
So,
But like, those are decisions that we, as the school committee, are not expertise, we don't have any expertise in that. It just seems stupid for us to like pick and choose.
Right, we would need
So who picks
data.
and chooses, I think that's.
Or we just, like,
Well, that's why you have an athletic director and a
Right, so we
principal
could-
that work closely together.
Right, we could technically say to the athletic director with Dr. Fortuna, we'd like you to tell us if you cut 200 grand from the sports budget, what that would look like.
we
right?
need 300 grand.
Well, I know, I'm just, right?
I mean, like, I agree, I think that we can like cut some, but like, the problem is twofold. Number one, last year, the school committee did not disperse cuts evenly across the board. And as a result, certain places got hit and other places in the budget did not. And now we are coming back, but this time, we have more pressure because the financial gaps are larger. So it's like, okay, now what do? We are going, and like, I do not foresee this problem getting better next year, to be frank.
Thanks for all the good news, Tony.
Especially-
Love hanging out with you.
Especially if the override doesn't pass this year. We are going to do this again next year, and we will not have anything to cut.
I'll move.
Yeah, I mean, like, it just,
I
like,
don't know what to do, because
guys,
this is,
we've gotta face the facts that we need to make big cuts to get down to the balanced budget.
I have a question as well. So at the high school level, for extracurricular activities, not including sports, but every student pays a baseline fee of $55.
Yeah,
But there is no like additional fee for doing multiple activities.
yes.
So what would the possibility of maybe, let's say, everyone pays those $55, but then for each extracurricular activity you do on top of like your first one, you pay an additional $55? Because I know I do like 4 or 5 clubs that don't have separate fees.
Yeah,
Like there's no way I am like contributing an equal amount to the kid who does one club.
the problem is none of the extracurriculars are even close to being self-sustaining. So like, in order to make them self-sustaining, the fees would have to be so large that essentially no one could do it. Right, and that's the problem. It's the same problem with sports, like, when you combine the athletic fees and the gate, it's an insignificant, it's like, what, like 132,000? So it's like, we're, you know, an order of 5 off. So, it's just, you know, we could do it, it just would mean that the parents have more of a burden. And I think this is one of the reasons why I don't think we should be in the business of picking and choosing. It would unfairly impact certain kids, right? Like, when we talked to the sports boosters, Karma made a point about, like, you know, she makes sure that everybody gets to participate. And if we make it a fees-based system, then the kids that can't afford it won't participate. And that would be, I mean, all of this is bad, but that would be like a sort of salt in the wounds kind of injury.
Coaches are stipends, right? The pay rate of that is determined by the contract.
And, yeah, it's covered by the collective
Because
bargaining.
we're looking at 159 for coaches, and if we cut half the sports,
it wouldn't be an even, it'd depend on what sport, each sport has a different stipend.
And how many coaches they have.
yeah. I mean, like, track, that's a ton of kids, and I feel like less, although we gotta drive them, and
Okay, so eye on the prize, so we're looking at $500,000 or so, right? Or what did you say, Chris? I'm sorry, 580? Was it 580 or was it?
For the 4 teachers and the interventionists.
Yeah. 4 teachers
I
and
think
the
we might
intervention.
have to let the interventionists go.
Right. So we cut the transportation, the bus, the band transportation, the trainer, and then we need to find another $200,000 to $300,000 to save the interventionists and some of the classroom teachers.
I don't think cutting half the sports would do that.
No.
Can we cut half the sports and keep the interventionists at the primary and the classroom teachers? I don't like any of this, but we have to decide.
The problem is the sports are not equally expensive.
Right, I'm just telling the public, I don't like any of this, like, I don't wanna be doing this. This is not a fun way to spend your Wednesday evening.
No.
Which is why one of you should join us, it would be really great.
If you too would like to be miserable and talk about money,
Right, I know, we're really,
Duke Math
really
by Committee,
advertising.
please join us.
I'm like, I quit.
I know, right?
I've gotten really good at spreadsheets, that's
Oh.
a benefit.
Oh my God, Laura.
Really good.
No, that wasn't.
Okay, question.
Yes.
The statute only obligates us to bus certain people. If we did not bus anyone who was not statutorily required, would our contract with the bus allow us to reduce the number of buses? And B, how much would that save us?
Liz, did you hear that question?
No, I
Can you
didn't.
come up and answer it?
I'll say it
have
again.
Tony repeat
I
it.
get it. I get it.
It's about busing,
Yeah.
and you have more of a handle on the busing than I do. Just come up to the mic. Come up here,
Oh, come on, okay.
so people can hear your answer.
Okay. Okay.
This town should be ashamed.
We're gonna keep moving forward. We have to, Laura, we have to.
All right, ready? So
Yeah.
here's the question.
Okay.
The statute for busing obligates us to bus a certain set of kids, but not all of them.
Right.
Number one, if we only bus the people we are statutorily obligated to,
Mm-hmm.
would that be permissible under the D-bus contract and reduce the number of buses we use?
It would be permissible. They don't agree with doing that. I've talked to them about.
Take us to court then.
Right.
Sounds good.
I've talked to them about this before. We've talked to them at length about that. Their suggestion is to bus all students,
Of course.
obviously. Yes.
As a salesman, my suggestion is you buy all the things I'm selling.
Exactly.
Okay.
But we're obligated to, as it says in policy, and as says in statute, like
Yeah,
you said, we're
within a half-
obligated
like-
K through 6.
Okay.
7 through 12, we are not obligated to.
And then it's like a radius, right?
Right.
If
Right.
we bust only the people we were statutorily obligated to,
Mhm.
how much money would we save?
Ugh, you're putting me on the spot here, Tony. I would have to really go back and look at that.
Like 100,000, like ballpark it, like 100,000?
Yeah, I would say about,
Or 200,000?
So we could do that.
Now, that means that we're gonna have kids walking on Mass
How
Ave.
are kids gonna get to school?
see, that's
This
the
is so
problem.
stupid,
That-
no.
That is really the biggest problem,
No,
is
this is
the lack of
ridiculous.
sidewalks
Yeah,
in town
You'd
is
still
the
have to bus
problem.
your middle school students to the
Right.
building anyway.
Right.
yeah. But if it saves us like 100 grand,
We could change the hours that sixth grade goes to school.
I just think safety is a factor there. I think safety is a big factor there.
I mean, I agree.
And that-
I'm not trying to.
To a different building, because now our class size is gonna be smaller, because we're trying to.
No, we don't have any space at other buildings for sixth grade.
alright.
I-
So you think like at best it would be $100,000 and we'd run into safety concerns?
We're
Yes.
not gonna bust the kids.
Right.
I'm not saying, I'm just trying to find
Well,
another.
we have to find.
We're not going to not give kids transportation to school, so that only parents who don't work can get their kids to school, or people who are available. I'm not doing that.
Well, that's fine,
I'm
we can
willing
take a
to
vote.
examine possibilities, but we're not going to not give kids buses to school.
Chris is raising his hand, do you think he found $500,000?
It was a total joke, Chris. It was a total joke.
I think this is just proving people like what we need.
I don't think it's proof to everyone.
Like,
I think there's a lot of people in town government who think that we're
Asking for too much.
think we're asking for too much.
out there.
What
Go
do you-
ahead, Chris.
Good evening.
I don't
So,
care.
one of the things I was just looking at and just had a conversation, what if we reduce the equipment line for Chromebooks? That's a pretty large line, and I'm not sure what the what the replacement on them is. And that's an idea.
How much would that take us?
42.9, I believe, is
No,
what
it's-
Jordan said.
42.9?
Yeah.
Is what we spend a year?
No, is what
No.
Jordan said we could cut.
But the total line is, hold on,
What line is it?
$42,000.
I'll tell you in 1 second.
This is why education shouldn't.
I get the Chromeboks anyways because I'm made.
I
What
know, but we need the
No, I know,
Chromebooks
I'm not-
to access our curriculum.
No, I'm not criticizing you, I'm criticizing generally the
Yes.
fact that everything is technology.
And I hate.
Which
the
is not a
fact that
problem
we
for
are-
today.
We are beholden to the subscription rates.
Yes, and I'm just telling you that I don't think that this is, I think it's good that you're looking, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is a good line to cut beyond what Jordan said.
Okay.
We're gonna cut.
So that's
Spend
an
it 4 years instead of 3. The schedule. Can you?
Oh, stretch it out?
Yeah.
So what is
Save
it,
or replace.
that's in part what that 42,900 does.
Would do, would extend
Yes.
one more year.
Like,
Yeah.
there's some ridiculousness, and I think it's ridiculous, that the central office cycle is every 2 years. We're
Right.
extending that to every 4.
Okay.
But the students.
But if
Yes,
it's this,
yeah.
so if we did what Jordan said, it would,
That's
it would be
42.
$42,900?
Let me make sure.
What
I
line
see
is
that.
this, Chris? In
the equipment line for the computers.
Yeah, no, like what row on?
Oh, what number? Hold on, just give me 1 second. Equipment.
42,703.
It's 223.
Our devices are on a 4-year cycle, Renee.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Can you go 5?
I mean, it's
Not with the
kids
Chromebooks,
using a
unfortunately.
laptop, and it's kids using very cheap laptops.
We are also going for a smaller Chromebook, to save $50 per device. And that will save, $15,000 on the middle school, high school line.
That's already calculated, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is it? Is it already in?
No, we haven't put it in
Okay.
yet.
Oh,
Okay.
well,
So
there's 15 grand.
There's about,
So the 4 teachers is about 430,000.
Okay. So the 4 teachers we could do with these Chromebook things, the trainer, and the transportation. And we gotta get one more thing in there.
And that means that we're letting all the positions expire by attrition.
Which,
So the assistant principal, the custodian, and the occupational therapist, all of those go by attrition. That's a lot.
I mean, could we ask Ms. Burns to come up with a proposal if we asked her to cut some of the sports, what she would do? Is she expecting that?
focus on the ones that are cheapest or service the most number of students.
Bang for your buck. Which ones give us the most amount of students for the least amount of money?
I don't know that she'll have the data for spring.
But the problem is, if the federal government still funds us, then we have to comply with Title IX, and the bang for your buck analysis cannot be performed.
We need to comply with Title IX, whether or not the federal government.
You're the lawyer, aren't you supposed to be telling us whether we're supposed to do that? I know you're
I'm
not
not
a lawyer.
providing legal advice, but I'm saying if we don't get federal funding, by law, Title IX does not apply.
We are getting some federal.
No,
We're
what I'm
still
saying is
gonna let girls have
if,
sports.
for example, no, I'm just saying cut everything. Then we don't have to worry about it.
so,
I know we don't want to be here, but like,
No, I just have a really hard time with cutting it carte blanche. Right? Is
We
that,
have
am I the
the-
only one saying
I
that?
mean, I don't wanna tell my son he can't play soccer.
I don't want to tell my son he can't run either. I mean, like, this would directly
Yeah.
impact my household.
I know, same.
I mean,
My wife and my son would both be very mad
If
at
we
me.
cut rid of sports, we wouldn't have to maintain the fields anymore.
It's true. It's true.
But then that's gonna affect all the other programs that use our fields, and we would lose those.
But that's not a ton of revenue.
Yeah.
I think what you're talking about is valuable. I think everybody, to use Tony's expression, should take a haircut.
Yeah.
I think that to find that $400,000 in electives and extracurricular activities
Is important.
is important, but I don't think you'll be able to do it.
No,
Can we at least
I don't think so either.
get a first grade teacher back?
No, I want those 4 teachers back.
Okay,
Like, I can't,
We need those
We
for,
have to
we
make
can't pick
cuts.
and, we can't pick and choose. I really think that we can't make, this is gonna sound awful, one school experience less pain. I don't think that's fair. And I don't think that that's the way to do. I think we need to do all 4 teachers.
so could we put the 4 teachers back? You take on what we've suggested to you. I mean, this budget, when do we have to have this number?
By town meeting.
By town meeting, we know
Okay. So it's not that I
what
want,
the number is.
right, like, we know what the number is, so
Number is-
could we,
But I want to have this number so that
More time
when
is
people
not gonna change the
are
reality.
considering the override, they understand what it means to vote no.
yes, I 100% agree with that, that's why I don't wanna wait too long, because we need the list of what's getting cut, because that is,
We
But-
need to start people thinking about
we need to start people thinking about it. So maybe we could decide on a few, I just think like if the sports are gonna take more of a haircut, which I think is where we need to go then, right? If we're gonna save those 4 teachers, which I am 100, I don't know if the rest of the board feels the same way.
100%.
100%, we have to save those 4
I am
teachers.
not going to cut a teacher.
Right, then maybe we tell sports, you have to make up the difference, you know what I mean, like basically the entire sports budget.
It is the entire sports budget.
Um,
That's not a haircut.
Right,
Right.
if we
It's
don't find something else,
$503,000.
then that's gonna be gone.
I think we might have
We
to
need
cut
to-
the 4 teachers. I think that when we did this budget, there are things we can talk about, athletic transportation being one of them. But I don't think we're gonna get out of this
No, you're not.
without increased class sizes.
We we worked really hard and have talked about this as a leadership team. This is what our team doesn't think is best, but thinks is what needs to happen to get to balance. And I hate to be the person sitting up here proposing it, because it's awful and it will devastate and decimate our school system. And I don't want that. There's no crying in school committee. I don't want that for the children of this town. And I need to believe that when faced with this and these Herculean decisions that you are trying to make right now, I have to believe that the voters will come out. I have faith in this town. I'm looking to move to Lunenburg. I have faith in this
Wait till an
town.
override vote fails,
But-
you'll be a much better team in the house.
It's
not a joke, it's true.
I wanna be able to
Your
vote.
housing
I
values
want my tax dollars to be able to go to our school system, which is why I'm considering that. However, not this school system, not the one that we're proposing. Our children will not learn. We will be outplacing, the special education costs alone will outweigh the savings that we have. Just think of what a special education placement can cost. It can cost upwards of $200,000.
Yeah.
We need to be able, if we make these cuts, to keep money in circuit breaker and in our budget to be able to pay for those out of tuition costs.
So, can I ask Dr. Fortuna why you and the leadership team didn't recommend cutting the sports program? Is it because you just felt like it brings too much value? Or, because I do respect, obviously, you as a team working on this, right? And, I mean, I was surprised when I got this that it didn't include, particularly the sports transportation, which I think is criminal that we are paying for that and cutting teachers. I cannot.
The sports transportation, the reason that wasn't included is because it's such a drop in the bucket of what we actually need. And I know talking about $127,000, like it's a drop in the bucket, is ludicrous, but it is. And with a 48.5% participation rate in high school athletics, I think it's a 48.5% of students were either keeping enrolled at Lunenburg High School or were coming to school at Lunenburg High School, as far as keeping their grades up.
I respect your opinion on why that wasn't on this list.
And that's why that wasn't on this initial list. But
you understand why the classroom teachers are so, I mean, everything is difficult,
yes.
but like,
Yes.
I just can't.
Yes.
Like, I don't.
I just
This
can't.
budget, her suggestions, like, I'm gonna, Dr. Fortuna works very closely with the principals, who are a very good team. They work together very well. And so, I'm going to trust that recommendation, and that she did not make it lightly, and that they understand the effects of these cuts, and that it is not simply the school committee can go through and pull out enough to, I just think that's so simplistic. I would like to cut sports transportation. I don't know what we would add back in or what you would wanna prioritize. I don't think we are going to get to enough to save all 4 classroom teachers, and that's killing me. This affects my own kid, and I'm thinking of those classes that I volunteered in and read to, and there's a lot of kids in the class now. Like, I'm thinking of my son's classroom. That number of kids is not gonna fit, because he's in one of the small, they're not
The
gonna
classrooms
fit.
at the primary school are not that big.
They're not.
They're not gonna fit, and I know, I've seen what
The
a
classroom
large group of kids, I've been to
rooms,
birthday parties
not
with my
the
kid,
class.
it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
That
the
number of
actual
kids.
rooms are not
And
that big.
I have so much faith in our teachers, but what we're about to ask them to do is
I just,
difficult. But when Dr. Fortuna suggested this, I have faith that she understands what it means.
I totally agree. I have faith in you and your team. I cannot be somebody who claims to support education and cut education for extracurriculars. I just can't, like, I'm sorry, maybe that's a wrong-headed position to have, but like, we are not in the business. This is not a minor league sports team. We are not in the business of creating athletes. We are in the business of educating students. And unless there is some overwhelming data that shows that this is the only way to do it, I cannot support a budget that leaves intact the entire sports apparatus and is cutting primary school teachers at a time when we have 30 kids or 28 kids, and then we have, 25 kids in kindergarten with no parents. And we have testing results from the 3rd grade that indicate that, a majority of the kids are not reading at grade level. We cannot do this. I just,
Can we talk about the athletic director line, and can we adjust so that reflects more reality of budgeting, just so future school committees understand what's going on?
yeah.
Because, can you talk?
I can talk a little bit about it. It's not a done deal, and after tonight's conversation, it could very well change.
Right.
Mrs. Burns came to me and offered to continue doing both roles while putting more emphasis on the assistant principal role during the day and moving more of the athletic director till after school for an increase in salary. That was $20,000. We are never going to get a part-time athletic director for $20,000. However, she was very clear with me that some things needed to remain. And at the time that we had that conversation, those two things were the athletic secretary and the athletic trainer.
Yeah, I think the athletic secretary very much
Yeah, that's
supports.
a bargain.
And so I think with this discussion, though, she may be rethinking that position, and we may be looking for a part-time athletic director.
A full-time athletic trainer, or would she be amenable to a part-time?
She was pretty clear that a full-time is important
Okay.
to student safety.
May I ask, what is the difference really between an athletic director and an athletic secretary? Because I would assume that both are talking to other teams and scheduling.
Athletic
things,
secretary?
Yeah.
Mrs. Burns does a majority of the scheduling. What the secretary does is a lot of handling the financial pieces of it.
And it's
the
very
secretary-
essential to how we
Is
do
it a
things.
full?
It is not a full-time job, it's a part-time job.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's not even
Yeah,
a job.
it's not even half-time, I think it's a .25.
Oh, okay.
Because I do think if we're gonna have sports, an athletic trainer at least half-time is important. I think the data shows that. I think that it's easy for people to say, then just go to the doctor. But the reality is, and multiple studies, if you want, you can email me, I have a lot of them. Students don't just go to the doctor. They don't tell their parents they got knocked in the head, it doesn't get communicated because there's no athletic director, there's no athletic trainer to communicate it, or it's not, the knowledge about head injuries is not there, and they don't go to the doctor, and then they get concussions. And we learned this 2 years ago when we had a school committee meeting about concussions. It's not the first concussion, it's the successive ones when they're not pulled out of play. And the stuff we're talking about, again, affects students' lives forever, and if we're gonna have a sports program, I think we need at least a part-time athletic director, because.
You mean a trainer?
Athletic trainer, yeah. I would be open to cutting some sports or cutting it by half, and I don't know if that's I think that that's asking too much from Mrs. Burns to make those decisions. I think it should ultimately be our decision, so if people are mad, they are mad at us and not our employees.
I think you need to have her voice.
Yeah, I just don't wanna
Absolutely
make
her
that decision
voice,
without having
but
that say.
I think that when people get angry, they should not be angry at Mrs. Burns. It should come to us, because it was our financial decision, and it's a hard decision. I would be open to cutting sports by half, especially if we're going to have such a reduced athletic director, because hopefully it would lessen her workload. I don't see
We gotta
cutting
come up with
sports
a
as.
number. This is the thing, we just have to come up with a number.
So we can
We
wait,
have the number, we just have
we
to-
could meet next week and have Mrs. Burns give us some, insight, but I agree with you, Tony, we need to have a number, we need to get this done. We can go with what Dr. Fortuna has recommended, we could vote on whether we wanna cut all the sports.
Where are we on it? Can we? Because I know how I feel, but I'm often and sometimes in the minority.
I would not vote for this. I would not vote for this. I cannot vote for a balanced budget as currently projected, given that it has absolutely no cuts to extracurriculars. And I'm not just saying sports, like, we are not in the business of doing extracurriculars. We are in the business of education, and all we are doing is cutting educators.
I meant,
I can't-
let's see how people feel about your view of cutting all sports versus strategic.
I don't wanna cut anything, but I am not cutting education before we cut
Okay,
extracurriculars.
but I'm wondering how
Is
other.
this something we can wait on or no?
I mean, we can wait, it just means that we will have less of a clear message for the overrun.
It shortens our runway
Yeah.
for the override.
This also prolongs the agony for the teachers who are waiting to see what happens. And that's-
Prolongs our agony.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't wanna wait 2 weeks. All I'm saying is if we could talk next week before tri-board or something, right? If we needed more information, that would be my only, I'm not trying to put it off to make the decision. I'm just saying if there's something that we need more information about.
I think we could say, let's cut the sports budget by half and without making specific decisions about it. But I'm curious where we lie on Tony's cutting all sports over things, because I think that will inform our decision going forward.
I am happy to put forward a proposal where instead of cutting the 2 classroom full-time employees at primary and at Turkey Hill, and the interventionist and the half interventionist, that we would look to make up that money by cutting first the sports transportation, second the total sports line to get down there, and then if we still need to make more cuts, I think they should come from extracurriculars. Band, theater, music, all of those things need to be taken off the table before an educational institution cuts educational services. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I would love somebody to tell me why it is wrong to say that we should be, I just
I
don't
don't
see
think
it.
you're wrong, I just think it's really hard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah, I mean, I think
I
that's.
don't think we're disagreeing on the educational perspective of it. I'm a teacher.
yeah, I mean, the problem is like,
But there's
when,
other
I think it's related to education.
moving parts there that we're just not all super.
the problem was when,
clear
when we did this last year, we cut nothing.
I watched all of it.
I knew that this was going to be where we were. I knew beyond any shadow of a doubt that we were going to be put in this situation. Because the economy stinks and it's not getting better, because we have an irresponsible president. The issues related to our funding because of Prop 2.5 is not gonna change. And we are just marching down the line. If we do not make dramatic changes via an override, we are going to be here next year and the year after, and probably until 2028 until something changes.
And that's why we cannot go under 1.6 million
I
in
don't
our
disagree,
override
but like,
request.
if we are in the budget.
No, I'm
balanced
serious,
No.
because if we go lower than that,
We're
we
gonna
are just
keep
putting a
going.
finger in the dike.
I agree.
Is that the
But
right-
what I'm saying is, if we
Is that
have a
the right-
balanced budget
Yeah.
that cuts
I
education,
hope so.
if we have balanced budget that cuts education again, what will this look like next year?
Right, I mean,
At that point, it would be full sports.
It would be all the sports and then some teachers.
and then
At
the
what
art
point
teacher.
can we field a school? Like, what happens if we keep going down this road? No, I'm just like,
Absorbed by the
So,
state.
no, the thing is, North Middlesex is going through this right now, and they are in a death spiral. I don't mean to be like, but basically more kids leave, this town gets less money, then you have to cut more things, then more kids leave, then, that's basically what happens. Is the numbers go down, and then as the numbers go down,
There's no way to stop it.
there's really no way to stop it, because then the kids leave, and then you get less money from the state, and then more kids leave.
guess,
And
guess what that does to your
More cut
property
down.
values?
right, I mean, I know of people who live in Ashby who have had very hard time selling their homes because they don't have kids in the system, but their school district is not that desirable.
And I feel bad, I am friendly with some of the women in North Middlesex who are, and men, who are working very, very hard to get more state funding. And I will continue to do that. I'm bringing 3 students in a few weeks to go testify. Kara's coming, we're gonna have a great day, and, you know, but. So, could we say that those positions that we spoke of, right, Tony? So Tony's recommendation is we take those positions off the table
And then make them up through cuts of extracurriculars.
and make them through extracurriculars, and then maybe, can we meet next week? Could people do before?
I mean, the other thing that we could do is we could just do it as part of the tri-board.
Like, do it before tri-board?
No, we
can
don't
do it.
have a confirmed tri-board meeting yet. The finance committee has not committed.
Or we could do next Wednesday, because we don't have a school meeting next Wednesday.
I think.
I know you don't want extra meetings, but like, I don't wanna let it be.
Now, I think we need to talk.
No, I really,
I think we can put a number on the sports, if we're gonna cut it by, say, half. Then I think we can put a number on it. I really don't wanna delay this. I think that's kicking the can down the road.
I think what you can do is direct us to cut non-academic pieces to make up for the 4 classroom teachers.
yeah,
Renee, can I,
No.
No, we can't do that.
I just,
We don't
I'm,
jump on that.
can we, in a week, can we talk to the select board if we can get more from their budget and we can have some more potholes in exchange for our, I mean, I
think
just,
that's a losing proposition.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to do that.
I mean, I just, it's so short-sighted to allow the schools to get to this position.
But, yeah, we gotta fix our own problems.
I don't think the select board would necessarily
Disagree.
disagree with that. I think the select board is in favor of an override.
Oh, the override, but like this budget,
Okay.
this is just,
Wait, so if we need, so we need to find $567,297, someplace other than the 2 FTEs, the primary 2 FTEs at Turkey Hill, the interventionist and the half interventionist. That means that we are okay with the assistant principal through attrition, the occupational therapist through attrition, and the custodian through attrition.
yeah, I mean, they
And the
suck.
music teacher. So we need to find $567,296. If we gave you a mandate to find that in non-academic facing positions,
I think
do
if
you
she,
think that's possible?
It would be just about every non-academic facing
if
position,
she
just so you
could,
know.
she would have.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying this whole
That's-
meeting.
That's the decision.
Stan,
Tim? Would you like?
I was just
Oh,
wondering,
come on.
what percentage,
I just want you to be Mike, so the community can.
you might have to answer this, though.
He's just telling you, Stan.
I like the analogy of everyone needs a haircut.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what percentage of the total budget is high school athletics? Because if we're cutting it in half and it's only 1 to 2% of our total budget, that's not a haircut.
It's like, it's like.
And it's, and we're
120.
pitting one against another again, like,
Sure.
I hate these cuts at the primary, let's go to the high school and let's cut those programs from
Yeah.
there, and I understand they're extracurricular.
What would the effects be? Cause you see it, what would the
I mean,
effects
you
be on
told us,
students?
it's 10 PM.
We-
People just won't come to school.
We talked about it with 48.5% of our students are involved
I
in
mean,
that.
I could imagine if we don't have any football next
let
year.
me talk.
Let's,
I asked-
we're getting late. Let's-
So we talk about chronic absenteeism, we talk about students going to different schools. I don't know of another high school in the Midwatch or in Massachusetts that doesn't have an extracurricular program with athletics. Because it's the fabric of our community, you can see that through the elementary, through the middle school, and as it comes up to the high school, you're going to be, I empathize with your problem, but I mean, cutting athletics, if it's 2% of a whole budget and you're gonna cut half of it, that's not a haircut.
It's 4%, right? It's about 4%.
Well, I was just throwing that number out
I'm relying on Chris to do that.
there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. It's about 2% of the whole.
Is it?
Mhm.
Okay. What percentage of the cuts that we need to make to get to a balanced budget is it? What percentage of the sports budget represents what percentage of the cuts we need to make? The sports and extracurricular budget.
And what was the total number we needed to make?
So $868,918.
And the total sports budget is?
So we cut all extracurriculars, it would not be enough to save us in a balanced budget.
Including personnel?
Yes.
No.
But if you add in the positions
Chris said
expiring.
no,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
wanted,
sure.
because.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And then if you apply the positions expiring through attrition, would that be enough? I think it's 917,000.
It'd be close.
I mean, I just don't know, I don't, like, if we're, unless we wanna cut teachers again, I don't know how we do this.
I think we have to. I don't want to. I feel like the team, I would like to cut the athletic transportation. I don't know what the, priority positions to restore would be.
Oh, classroom teachers,
But if we could only restore one,
right, I don't think that's.
and we'd still have to find something else. If we only restored one position, what would the priority be?
First grade.
We could do that if we cut the athletic transportation budget.
Guys, we also have to understand that we have 2 collective bargaining contracts coming up in 2027. I mean, we got
There is a salary reserve.
big problems.
So if we cut athletic transportation, we could restore one classroom teacher in the first grade, and that would be your priority?
Yes.
That would also
For
be
the
my,
restoration,
what?
for restoration.
That would be my priority as well, only because kindergarten and first grader, when they're learning very fundamental skills, but this are, again, really hard decisions to make.
All right.
Would that be possible, Chris? Is what I'm saying correct?
Simone, would you like to just?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know you've also been working tirelessly on this.
What was your question again, Laura?
If we eliminated athletic transportation
Yeah.
entirely for $127,550.
Yeah.
And would that enable us to restore one first grade teacher? at
Yes.
The primary?
Yes. The whole 127, yes.
I would be okay with that. I would prefer that. I don't think there's a way to do this and get all 4 classroom teachers back, which is killing me, affects my own kid. But I think that is the least bad, terrible scenario in this awful trade-off.
Emily, what do you think? What? Mandy, are you willing to cut teachers to fund sports?
That is.
That is exactly what we're doing. Let's not mince words, let's be honest, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I am, but I'm not willing to go all the way, so my personal opinion is I would like to restore the 4 classroom teachers and cut what we need to from the sports department and extracurriculars to do that. And that's.
What is your second priority? I know this is hard asking you to, what would your second priority be if we cut, because cutting athletic transportation, I believe, would give us a little more than we need. So if we cut another amount to get us to a second
I mean,
full-time
I'd like to cut the
position,
trainer too. I
What-
know that not everyone else agrees with that, but.
what would your priority be?
I think at that point, unfortunately, it'd have to be the quota, so we could maintain legal compliance.
Okay, all right.
The what?
The
So,
certified occupational therapy
Okay,
assistant, so we can maintain legal compliance.
Okay.
if Mrs. Burns would still,
So if we keep the 2 FTEs at primary, 2 FTEs at Turkey Hill,
Yeah?
and we let the attrition positions expire, and we don't do the interventionists, and we cut sports athletic transportation, we are still $412,486 short.
That can't be right, because you didn't take off the sports transportation.
127, 127. That's what we're at.
But you included the 2 interventionists, not just.
No.
Okay.
So the 8
your
teachers, the 4
second priority
teachers
is
are.
Is the occupational therapy assistant? Okay. Because I also have concerns about a plumber. So, all right. I don't know the exact cost of the first grade teacher, and I don't want to say it.
Chris, what are we budgeting for? Oh, we would be keeping a teacher. That position, that first, no, never mind.
So if we remove athletic transportation, and we remove X amount of dollars from the sports budget and replace that.
That's how much we'd have to take out.
And replace that with a first grade teacher and the CODA, the certified occupational therapy assistant. It's like $250. How do people feel about that? Because then we are making a cut to sports, but we are not eliminating it. We are eliminating athletic transportation, and we are adding back in the superintendent's number 1 and number 2 priority for positions to be restored, one of which would hopefully keep us in legal compliance and would service students who need it. And the other would lower first grade classes sizes, which
I like
is,
that.
are we okay with that?
I mean, it still means that we have a huge gap to make up.
So there's a compromise.
Yeah.
Wait, we don't have a huge, that would be.
It's, no, we don't,
It'd
because
still
we're
be-
still going to be
It's like
cutting.
$200,000.
No,
No, she's
There's
just
two
talking about 1 classroom teacher and 1 CODA, whatever
Yeah,
they
so
call
one
it.
classroom teacher would be like
it's right,
$100,000.
yeah, what
and
price
then-
are we, it's okay. So let's just say 100.
So the price on there includes the health insurance.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say 100 because it makes it easy, but we'll have to figure that
And then
out.
75, so we need to find another $175,000 to cut.
What? No, so we're cutting 127 in athletic transportation. We're cutting 127 in athletic transportation,
Okay.
That'll get you 1 teacher.
plus, yes, plus X from athletics. We're just gonna leave that, we'll solve for that later. Plus X, the amount that we would cut from the sports budget. And in exchange, we would add in 1 classroom teacher, 1 first grade teacher, and 1 certified occupational therapy assistant.
While I appreciate the idea, it would create a civil war between our schools. And
Okay. Where does that CODA work?
it's district-wide.
Okay, so that is,
I think it's the primary school problem. We keep giving the primary school something they don't take out.
I know, but class sizes in first grade really, I don't know, I have to listen to Dr. Fortuna on that, because I'm not an expert.
So if we had 1 classroom teacher in primary school, 1 classroom teacher in Turkey Hill, and the CODA back, and then say, make up that difference by cuts to sports transportation and the sports budget in general, would that work? So that we don't have the Civil War problem?
I'm gonna defer to my leaders for that.
Wait, so then they'd be going from second grade with 30 kids in a class to third grade with, so the second grade with 4 teachers and third grade with 5 teachers?
I mean,
So Laura, this is not ideal, but we can't have one's more valuable than the
Yeah,
other. It's
no,
not
it's not.
fair. It's,
Oh,
we
they're not,
can't do that within the schools.
yeah.
Everyone's gonna have to give up something, town-wide. I said this last time. We have to find a path that we can move forward where everyone in the town gets what they need. We are going to have to take cuts somewhere. They're not ideal. Are we happy about it? Absolutely not. But we can't sit here and debate and go back and forth, who's more deserving
No.
than the other. It's not fair. It's not fair to everybody that's here, it's not fair to everyone that's online, and it's not fair to our kids. We have to make a decision, it's a tough decision, and we have to stick to it. And that's how we have to go for the override. If we keep on going back and forth and we keep on deciding, we're gonna get nowhere. We have a time crunch. And we need to let the people of the town know what's gonna happen if we don't get the override. So we have to make a decision, and you, as a school committee, have to make that difficult decision. We've given you numbers, we've given you cuts, but we can't have a civil war between the high school, Turkey Hill, primary, and the middle school. It's not fair.
Okay, so, Principal Squire, would you mind coming up in case somebody, Chris, I'm just gonna say this.
Although she has a great teacher voice.
Stay. Yeah, just stay.
Sorry.
Just hang out with
Okay,
us.
so I would like to end this meeting at 10:30 because we're not being productive and it's late.
No, I think you guys are gonna
Okay.
have to make a decision. We
So
can't,
that's what I'm saying. Well, I would like to have us make a decision in the next 10 minutes. I think we've debated this long enough. We just need to pull the trigger. We're not getting anywhere. If we did the following, if we added back one FTE at primary school, added back one FTE at Turkey Hill, and then added back the CODA, and asked for that difference to be made up by a cut to athletic transportation, and then a cut to the general athletic budget equal to whatever the remainder is after you cut transportation, would that be a compromise that would work on the administrative level? Dr. Fortuna, Dr.
I
Principal
can't
Squire,
answer
Mr.
that on my
Sanchez,
own because I think it was a team decision and
Mr. Yvonne.
putting us on the spot is not going to, I think you guys as a school committee need to make that decision.
Okay, I have no problem making the
Yep.
decision to be the one that takes it.
I think for us, that it then becomes the infighting amongst ourselves and it's not fair.
We made the decision
Okay,
as a team.
sounds good.
That's what I was just gonna say. You started part of this meeting, and I think it was Mrs. Brzezowski, who complimented us on how well we worked together. And for a while, we've been kind of, you might hear us leaning back and forth, going, what did we spend all that time and energy working so well together for? Nobody's okay with this.
Yeah.
This is trying to make the best out of a bad situation.
Yes.
And we've spent a lot of time back and forth talking about the same things that you've been talking about. To say what's the least worst thing
Yeah.
we could do to make that bottom line budget that nobody wants work. Not happy with it, but that's what we've come up with together to say, yep, with Dr. Fortuna, this is the best way to move forward for our kids, for our teachers, for our community. And again, part of me was sitting back, I'm gonna be honest, I texted Dr. Fortuna, can somebody tell them that you've laid out what you want, let Dr. Fortuna and her team go back and do what we need to do to get you what you want in a way that makes sense. You've trusted us this far.
I'm just gonna speak for myself. I have a lot of faith in what you guys have proposed. I just don't see it as being an equitable distribution of cuts. It is not a haircut to everybody. And the reason I don't think it's a haircut to everybody is because extracurriculars took no haircut last year and no haircut this time. So like, if the goal was to be equitable, I do not think it does that. And if that is an unfair criticism, I'm happy to hear it, but I don't see how we can be in the business of education, talk about everybody taking a haircut, and then only have haircuts on the educational level.
I don't think, and I respectfully disagree,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. I don't think parity equals equitableness. And I
Sure.
think education is important. Teaching kids how to read and write, to be active citizens, to choose their own path in life is our core mission. However, in order to educate our children as citizens, we have to think about the soft skills that they get from participating in extracurricular activities.
Alright.
So I would say if you guys are not satisfied with what we have put forward, then you are charged with going back to Dr. Fortuna and saying, this is what we would like to be equitable. Then we would have to go back to the table, but doing it in an open forum, back and forth, is not, it's not productive.
We don't love it either.
Oh, this is miserable.
no,
Like,
it
there's a
is-
million ways to do this faster.
This is
But
not-
the open meeting
This
law,
whole, the way that we have
We're not
to do
allowed to
this,
talk about
it's not optimal.
and it's also not optimal for people who are public employees, right? Like, the fact that we have to do all of this debating in public means that, like, you know, you tune in 15 minutes ago, you're like, I'm fine! And you tune in now, you're like, I'm cut! You know, this is a terrible,
Yeah, there are
terrible
people
way to do
whose
this.
jobs, there are multiple people whose jobs are affected by this.
We
Seeing
have,
it.
so we have spoken to
Yeah, I
every
know.
teacher
It's
today
just
that's
still not-
impacted by these decisions.
So, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but we've been here for 3.5
Let's
hours.
do this.
And the only thing that I have really been asking about is the sports transportation and the sports trainer. I guess with Ms. Burns' graciousness, I can understand the sports trainer. I feel like, that is the only thing I feel very uncomfortable on the sports transportation front, charging kids to come to school and not charging them for their sports transportation. I think that's the one thing that I know that it will affect children. I don't know whether we charge people, I don't know, you know, what we do, but I just, that is one thing the last thing I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around, continuing to pay for out of a school budget when we're cutting this many positions. So I don't know if there's any way, you know, and you presented to us what you wanted. I don't agree with Tony, I don't wanna cut the entire sports program. But I also wanna go home.
Okay, to compromise, to compromise.
Right, like, I mean, honestly.
I think that
Because-
we,
to compromise,
the first
can
thing
I
we gotta
say-
do is, do we wanna accept the administration's proposal? And we should just go down the line, yes or no, and then if we don't, then we
Can I
can go.
propose a compromise as far as that I think will keep us all, if we cut athletic transportation
No, wait,
by
wait.
the amount
Hold
of
on,
the
wait.
quota.
They have made a proposal to us.
Yes.
They are here as a team. I take their work
If we
and,
cannot compromise, then yes, I'm gonna go for that.
but I think that we gotta say yes or no to what their proposal is. We should not be editing their proposal. It's either we don't want this or we do want this, and if we don't want this, then we tell them what it is to go back. We cannot do this on the fly. So, let's go down the line. Emily, do you want to accept the proposal on the balanced budget as it is written in the document?
Yes.
Andy?
No, just because of the one thing I mentioned.
Laura?
No, I'd like to look at athletic transportation.
Okay, so just so we're clear, if there is a tie, it stays as is. So I would assume that that means that the proposal carries. Is that right?
But you're not taking a vote, you're kind of doing a straw.
Right. But we're gonna,
Yeah.
the next thing. I am going to say that I do not support the proposal as currently made, in large part because I do not think, and I hear what you say about, it's not, everybody has to take the same cut. We are still not making any cuts to something that is not part of our core mission. So I'm gonna say that I reject this as well. And so, sorry for all the work you put in, I can't do this.
So can we instead, would people be comfortable asking Dr. Fortuna and the team to go back and just, if we took the athletic transportation money out and they decide where they wanna put it, would you support that as a straw poll?
Emily?
Yeah. Yes.
I have reservations about saying go back to.
No, I'm not saying go
but-
back to the drawing board, I'm basically saying,
Just figure out where to put
Yeah,
them.
I-
take that money out,
I
charge,
would like-
and like Doc, we can charge people, we can come up with something. North Middlesex does not bus their kids back and forth to games. I did ask my friend who works there, they have a system where the boosters and the families have come up with a system for transportation.
I would like to reduce the athletic, I would like for the team, not us, to pick a priority position, one priority position, and to reduce the athletic transportation by that line, because it's different for different positions. And then athletic transportation will be mostly gone, but there will be a small amount left to be used strategically for if there are certain sports that are having equity issues or that meet at weird times, and that would be under the purview of Mrs. Burns, and we could try it that way for a year, where sports transportation was not guaranteed for all games. but
Yes,
we
and also Tony
still
says we
had-
might get a better discount.
But we still have part of the athletic transportation for when it's absolutely necessary or if we're finding issues with certain sports.
I'm just gonna cut to the quick. I support cutting the sports transportation budget, it's the timing.
I think that's difficult because now we have an amount of money that we have to find. So
That's fine.
I'm saying let's cut it by one position because that's all it's gonna cover.
But then,
And then,
like, that's something that's beyond the, like, we're an oversight committee, just,
So you would like us to go back and look at transportation or some other areas and then look at what are our priorities, because you're not supporting cutting all of the classroom teachers. Are we, I just wanna make sure that we're understanding what you're saying, so
I
we'll
think
go
what
back.
they're saying is they wanna cut the $124,500
and then
that's there
figure out
for,
what to do with it.
and then figure out
what
how to
else?
apply.
I would like
Yeah.
to cut it by the amount of whichever one position.
I think,
Is a
I would
priority
just rather
position.
cut it all though, because then you could spend it on other things, like
Okay,
maybe
but
there's
we have to-
technology, maybe I've heard that this,
I just don't wanna get into the details
yeah,
of like.
exactly.
I think it's.
You
Right,
guys
we'll
figure
do
it out.
that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into
Yeah.
it.
I just can't ask taxpayers to pay for that. I
But
just,
generally, these cuts, I don't know what your priority would be and what we can afford through that, but generally, yes, I don't support these cuts, but yes, I think you guys spent a lot of time and discussion picking these cuts, and I trust them. I just would also, I think that athletic transportation has ballooned in the past few years, and I think that's a place where we can cut and maybe squeeze out one less cut.
I would look for a motion on the balanced budget as proposed.
Would
Would
we have
anybody
no
like,
proposal?
would anybody like to make a?
I'll second it.
No, a motion, you have to make the motion.
I make a motion to accept the balanced budget as proposed, minus the athletic transportation fund, which the team will then make a recommendation that we will accept. I'm assuming that we're gonna tell them, we're gonna accept what they say on that 124,700.
127,500.
Anyone wanna make a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Me. Alright. Sorry, guys.
And thank you, I do.
Thank you. We don't like doing this. Okay.
So we mostly have a balanced budget.
We do have a balanced budget.
We do. We do.
We got it.
With, and to be clear, that's,
With all of these cuts.
So right now, we're making these cuts until we come back to you with a recommendation of.
On that
how-
last amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but can we do that sooner than 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, I'm
It
going
can be a Zoom
to,
meeting.
Or an email, we can do this by email.
We actually legally cannot.
well, I can tell you what the
We don't have to
recommendation
take
is.
a vote on
right?
it.
Yeah,
but we
she
can-
can give us
the
yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Because you voted on what
Yes.
the budget is.
Yeah, whatever
just
you
now.
guys
Yeah.
pick.
I'm going Saturday.
And again, I really do appreciate the amount of, and it makes it easier when you guys aren't infighting and I guess it's just really nice that everybody here has the students' needs at the core of what they do.
And Mr. Yvonne's beard added gravitas.
It always does.
Okay. what's
Alright,
next?
public comment, next thing.
Oh, good.
Let's do public comment.
Renee's got one.
Public comment.
Try to be quick.
Thanks for sticking with us, Renee.
I have no life, this is what I do. Renee MK, 6 Iris Court, speaking on behalf of myself. Okay, caveats out of the way. I first want to publicly thank Superintendent and Chris and Town Manager as well, who spent a lot of time, I know Friday and over the weekend, looking at, I got line item budgets from the superintendent and town manager and spent time looking at expenses and digging into Munis, and I was happy to hear a lot of the feedback was actually incorporated into the budget. The other thing I wanted to quickly address was coming back to the fire. I want to make it clear that in the no override budget that we discussed on Monday, it was a decision that the fire, fourth shift career fire was a priority. And we cut several departments to make that happen. Library, police, additional fire, DPW, Park and Rec, Council on Aging, they all took cuts. So no one, to be clear, no one is happy with the no override budget. I think, and that's true from town, school, and I think the discussion that went on for God knows how long tonight on your balanced budget just speaks to how unhappy people are. It's not, I think from the town side, it's survivable. It's not what anyone wants. I think it is definitely more devastating for the school. And in my conversations with the town manager, even as late as today, she also agrees. It's much more devastating for the school. It is critical, important, whatever adjective you can think of, override passes. And I think everyone is on board with that. I mean, I can't officially speak for the select board, the tri-board, whatever, but it is critical that the override passes. And I'm saying that for the public listening. I know how much work has gone into looking at these budgets. They can't be trimmed anymore. This is it, guys. This is it. We're not asking for, money for frivolous things. We're not padding the budget. This year, with all the new staff in place, it was a lot more work, but the work was done. And I want the public to know that and to feel comfortable with the override that will be presented, that this is what is needed. And if we go with the 2 tiers, it could be needed and then plus, what we want, a little bit of what we want beyond the needs. And I think the public education is critical. If people are aware, it's a matter of priorities, right? If they are aware what's included and it's important, they will vote for the override. They will open their wallets. And so I think Mandy's touched on this before. I think it's really important that the education starts. It has to be clear. We have to go to town meeting with a no override budget, because to go to 1/12 budgeting would be even more disastrous.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have to present the no override budget, but I think we have to be clear of what that is lacking, and then what you get with the override. So that piece, I think, is really important. And I know, when I say, and I checked with the town manager if I could say this, and I can, department heads also support the override. So you have support from town staff, from, I think, I can't officially, okay? You have support for the override. And I've written so many notes during this meeting. So I think I touched on everything. Just as an aside, I think we're still waiting if FinCom will have a quorum for Tuesday for the tri-board, so just so you know.
Okay.
So keep an eye on email and everything to see if that gets confirmed, but we're trying to get a tri-board for Tuesday. And select board has a workshop on Monday night to talk about budget again. So
Thank you.
that's also for the public's
Thank you for
information.
Thank you. I really appreciate you coming, Renee, especially because we were mad and you sat there and took it. And
You guys threw some arrows, I'm not gonna lie.
I am mad. I very much
I
appreciate
took some
you,
arrows.
and I appreciate you continuing
to engage with us.
I'm gonna let
You're
Renee
very
off the
tough.
hook now.
We're trying, we're trying.
Sarah Kammer, 304 Lancaster Ave. I wanted to speak here to parents who might be listening right now. May 2nd is a big sports day for a lot of people. I hope you're having a conversation with your student about how you might have to miss one of their athletic events. My daughter has states, I'm not going. I have to go to town meeting. And I looked up approximately the number of students in Lunenburg, about 1,540. And if you like to use that average people throw around that every house sends 2.7 kids to school, that gives us about 570 families. And assuming that everybody's a single parent, that means 570 parents need to be at town meeting. And then you need to go out and get your extended family who are not parents who live in Lunenburg, and they need to go to town meeting, and they need to vote for that budget, the one at the beginning of the meeting, not the one that is causing all of us tears in this room tonight. If that happens, what are we here for? Really? Because it's not the kids. And I find it really hard to believe. I do find it really hard to believe that all of the rest of the people in this town who are not parents would jump on board with that budget either. And maybe that's because I'm an optimist. I mean, I'm an educator, so I've got to be a bit optimistic. And I've been working in climate change for a long time, and I still think we can do something about that too. So optimism. And I think, you know, having to talk about that balanced budget, you know, that word that it's balanced is just wrong, you know? That is the budget of no override, the budget of despair. And
That's a good name for it.
and we really, as a town, need to do better than that. And one of the things that we need to carry forward from your meeting today is what budget is essential, right? And that is what we need to talk about with the town. It's not failures people have had in the past with overrides. It's not this group versus that group. It is what the whole town needs. And I do believe that was part of the discussion at the select board with what the town needs budget-wise. Nobody wanted that first budget either. If you listen to that meeting, and I still haven't finished listening to it, I had other things to do in my car today. But if you listen to that, they want the override too. And I think, that we can vote on it at least 3 times if we need to. So, I mean, I don't know how fact. I heard that that's a possibility. But I think I think we need to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
And I think that budget, it was the C budget. Yeah, I think that one's a good number.
Yeah.
And I think it's well designed. And I think it's transparent and obvious that that is what we need. So, thank you.
Hi. I only have several pages.
I'm shocked that you're making a public comment. It's really surprising.
I know. Laura Parushin, 389 Mulpus Road, here as a parent and as the president of the Music-Aiders. I just thank you all. Everything that you're doing, I think the team, there's a different feel this year, how you're working together, the conversations that you're having. It just feels very different from last year. The transparency, the fact that I didn't have to go searching through 32 pages on the website to find the budget. There's a hub. We're in Lunenburg, and we have a budget hub on our town website that gives people every single committee, every single group, everybody's budgets. I think that's just phenomenal. To the public, we're at a crossroads. Push has come to shove, this is it. And these cuts that we're talking about at the end of the 4 hours or whatever we're at now, 4 days later, they'll be the same thing next year.
Yeah.
That is a rinse and repeat budget. That is what's gonna happen. And it's the tip of the iceberg of what's gonna happen. And this impacts all of us. Whether you've got students in the school system right now, you've had students in the school system, you've benefited from your property tax, your property values going up. Just look at the properties that are selling. I've got a neighbor, and we were, saw the house for sale. We saw two little kids, and thinking, okay, there's the next generation of Lunenburg. It's just I don't know who bought the house, but it's still under. But I'm just, as we look at all that, that's why we're here. Whether we're here for music or chorus or for arts or for athletics, whatever it is, well-rounded students who can go on and be productive members of society, who can come back to our town and start that over again. That's our goal. That's what we're looking for. And we need to get there. And this budget proposal, that helps us get there and meet that goal. And most importantly, take care of our kids. That's what we should be doing. So I just, please, everyone, I've got 3 other things on May 2nd, but this is the thing. I will be sitting in the auditorium all day with the clicker, and on the 16th, and we have to be there. So certainly the music aiders, we will be pushing this out. We appreciate. We also too, as I said earlier, thank you for in the restore budget, in the override budget, putting the music teacher back in, devastating the band. I didn't see, the music, the athletics at the middle school have other alternatives. The music, getting rid of the band, it's the only program that completely got devastated, that just eliminated. And the word eliminated, I forget how many times when I searched through the document, referred to the music program. So I appreciate you putting the .2 back into that. It's $9,800. We will, again, I will commit, me and my fellow officers, we will commit to helping balance that and make up for supplies and transportation and other things.
You did not have a poker face with that.
I just, well, not a little bit, huh? That's why I was on that side of the camera, because the eye rolling was, yes, tremendous. But, I appreciate that. I can't imagine for a $28 million school budget that we can't find $9,800, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Anybody online?
Yes. Sarah, we have online. Sarah, can you hear us?
Is it my turn? I can't hear.
It's your turn.
I can't hear who's talking.
Oh, yes,
Yes,
it's your turn,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Oh. All right, thank you. So first of all, thank you to all of you for being here for, 3.5 hours tonight discussing this. I have drafted an email with all of my ideas.
Your name and address?
Oh, sorry, Sarah Call, 11 Easterbrook Road. So I work at the primary school, I'm a parent of 2 high schoolers, and of course a homeowner in town. And I have, like I said, drafted an email with all of my thoughts over the last 3.5 hours, but the one I keep coming back to that I think needs to be addressed is the last override we did. We suddenly found almost $600,000, but then sort of lost it and it went to the town. And I feel like before we all gung-ho go forward with another override, we should address how that money was lost, and is there a chance of getting that back? Because that's a lot of money.
Who wants to take this one?
Okay, so wait, let me, hold on one second. So first of all, we did 4 different town hall meetings addressing this issue, including 2 with the staff. We also sat down, Dr. Fortuna and I sat down before Thanksgiving, after the last special town meeting, and we addressed this issue with the newspaper. So to summarize quickly, the large majority of the money was budgeted for a competitive grant. We won the competitive grant, and then we did not reallocate that money through the line item transfer process. And as a result, at the end of the year, based on the town charter, the money remits to town hall. It goes into free cash. No money was ever lost. It was money that we should have spent but didn't. The reason that we didn't catch it was because of an accounting irregularity. The accounting irregularity and the systems in place that caused it to arise have changed. We have entirely new staff, both in the business manager's office and the superintendent's office. And the thing that caused the money to go out of balance, the competitive grant, that is something that is essentially, you know, there are obviously all new competitive grants, but that was a one-time thing. So it will not happen again. I am confident that the team that we have in place now will be mindful of the money.
And the money, to be clear, the money
Never
was
got
not lost.
It went,
It didn't, and then it didn't just show up.
it did not get
It
spent.
was not expended, and it was not expended on things that it should have been expended on, in some cases, and in the others, it was the competitive grant. And the money returns to town hall, it doesn't just go away, and it will become certified as free cash in the future. And, the town manager will have a proposal on what to spend with it once it's certified and the state does its thing. And then it usually, because there is usually some amount of free cash and unexpended funds every year from most departments, it returns to town hall, becomes free cash, and then usually we spend it on capital projects or funding the snow and ice removal, that kind of thing. So the money is not gone, the taxpayer money is still within the town, it does not return to the school because of the way that our budgeting works. And we shouldn't run an operating budget using one-time free cash.
And lastly, that money was included in this year's current budget, so that $1 million we are currently spending. And without it, we would be another $1 million in the hole. And it will be there next year as well for the budget that we are currently building. Because once you vote for an override, it is added to the tax base, is that the right word? The tax,
Levy.
the levy, that's the word I was looking for.
It permanently adds to the tax levy.
To the tax levy, so that money has been key as well, moving forward.
Yeah, had we not done the override, we would be in a much
Bigger
worse
hole.
situation this year. So, but thank you, that was a good
Good
question,
question.
and I really think that it needed to be addressed. Do we have more?
No.
Oh,
We lost everyone.
we all went to that.
Everyone's also, everyone's asleep.
Okay,
All right.
all right, guys, what day is town meeting? May 2nd, and the election? May 16th.
All right, I am.
Motion to adjourn at 10:46 PM. Can I get a
Excellent,
second?
sounds good. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,